And a good Wednesday morning, everybody.
Mike.
Good morning and welcome in. Middle of the week. And if you are out and about, you're up very, very early. I do not suggest this lifestyle. But for all of us that are early risers and out the door and to work, this is a morning where if you missed the Northern Lights last night, I noticed that on my drive in, there's still a little bit visible.
Okay. I did not see the Northern Lights yesterday.
Not even driving home last night or this morning?
I'm going to be honest with you. I wasn't really looking up into the air on the drive home this morning. I was more so just looking, eerily down Dodge, just trying to get home. I did though. Dan went up on the roof and took a beautiful picture of the Northern Lights.
There are all over social media. Everybody around this area, I get. Well, I'm around the country. But around this area, especially in Southeast Nebraska, a lot of people that I follow on Twitter or friends of, I noticed on their social media, everybody, I went out while I was driving back from Lincoln last night and you could see them. And then I stopped, away from the lights, the light pollution of the large city of Omaha. And it was quite beautiful. I don't know what round two will be like today because there's going to be some cloud cover, but that was quite the experience seeing the Northern Lights in Omaha, Nebraska yesterday.
First of all, shout out to our boy. He's here. He's ready to go.
Yeah.
Hell yes.
It seemed like National Boyfriend Day Part 2 yesterday on Instagram. Just seemed like every couple ever that I follow that seems to be in the Midwest was just pointless. Just happened to find a picture of them holding hands and looking at the Northern Lights, and it was. I was kind of
beautiful. I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not, but I thought it was kind of cool. It was a nice respite from the government being shut down on Twitter and some ugly basketball being played in Lincoln or in Spokane, Washington. Before we dive into what happened last night on the hardcore, what time did you get out of here?
12:43. 12:43.
Okay. What was the general vibe of the show?
It was good. Joey Colbert's a professional, so he's also Joey.
You say he's your Karl Malone to you being John Stockton?
I would say so.
He's the finisher.
I think that is the relationship.
You're Kobe, he's Shaq.
That's the relationship that we have. I will talk for about 3 minutes, and I will give things on the game, and I'll toss it to Joey, and Joey will give me a beautiful 45 seconds. And then Joey's great at sparking a thought. So Joey sparks a thought, gives me back the ball. I lay down another 3. I pass it back to Joey. Joey gives me another 45.
The great two-man game.
Thank you, Woodhouse Cadillac, for sponsoring this overtime show. We'll be back with another segment.
You want some caddies? I'll get you all caddies.
Caddies?
You guys know what movie that's from?
No, I don't.
Tom Cruise movie?
Cocktail?
No.
Okay.
All right. Let me before we dive into
that's a great movie.
Basketball.
Movie. Ever had a red eye?
Because there is no football this week, but there is basketball, and there was a football player at the basketball game last night. That
there were a couple of them.
There were. So I was in Lincoln last night to watch that game.
That's awesome.
I'm a sicko, but I'm also a ticket holder.
You have tickets. You might as well go.
Took a friend, and he brought his son along last night. So I did have an interaction with one of those football players because my friend's son wanted to know if I knew him and if he could meet them.
Oh, wow.
And I said, no, yes.
You can't meet you were like, no, you can't. Malcolm Hartzog is going to be a really hard guy to get to. I don't know if I can swing that. Is that what you told him?
I did not tell him that. I said,
okay.
Not all the injured guys. Would you like to meet Katula? Would you like to meet Teddy? I know Teddy. But coming up on the show, Jay Moore is going to stop by at 8 with thoughts through 10 with 2 to go off of UCLA. Also, appropriate on the morning after belt to ass happened between Gonzaga and Creighton. There's no other way to deny it. Gonzaga, that's probably the best team since Chet's team, the 22 team. Their defense is legit. The Kennel's a tough place to play. But they destroyed Creighton last night. And John Walker's going to stop by at 9. Doesn't mean if you get destroyed in the second game of the year is over.
Okay.
It's called a learning experience. We'll tell you because we're going to get into it in just a moment. If Mack was not the head coach at Creighton, and they've had slow starts, and this is the worst loss since 19 against San Diego State. I told you yesterday, it has the feeling of when they played at Gonzaga in 17, and then they played at Michigan early in the year, still trying to figure things out against a really good basketball team. If you're not hitting shots, that it could get sideways quick, and boy, did it ever get sideways at the beginning of the second half. So John Walker, the World Herald, will stop by coming up at 9. And Brandon Vogel from Counter Reed is in at 9:40. Whether it be in Lincoln or whether it be in Spokane, there was some bad basketball last night. But the results that I expected happened, not to the extent in Lincoln. Nebraska did not cover. And Creighton was a 12.5-point underdog. I like this Gonzaga team, and they're an old team. And this is the first time with guys that don't know the Creighton standard of how you win basketball games, because they're coming from programs that haven't won, and they're going on the road to play a true road game. I did not see that 90-63, but I did see them losing last night. So
you called it.
I was wondering how
you told me. I mean, typically we don't give a ton of credit to off-air takes. If you have an opinion, it's got to be on air. But you did tell me
you have to take a picture of it, and you have to have facts.
Yeah,
but I want to see some evidence.
But you did tell me. You're like, look, does have the makings of potentially being ugly, and you referenced those two exact games.
I said, go look at them.
I was watching the game with somebody, and they said to me, it's like, yeah, it's incredible. Like, you got plenty of guys out there who are coming from teams who were like the guy. They were like the number one option. And you kind of saw that in the first half where McAndrew makes the 2 threes. Harper puts the ball on the ground, gets to the basket. Freeman had a nice little turnaround, that ended up
not in shape. I mean, he's
no.
He's still coming back from that injury, and they need him to get to 100%. That was evident last night.
But the point that I'm trying to make is that, it's cool that they have that, but then at times you could kind of tell that they were a bunch of guys who used to be ones and not necessarily like a full cohesive offensive unit. And it just got clunky.
Yeah,
it got clunky.
Yeah, they got really stagnant in the first half. They hung around in the first half, and Gonzaga was shooting threes, and no one expected Ike to come out and hit 3 for 3 right away. And Gonzaga, they were settling for some threes. I think they ended up 9 of 27, but they just dominated inside. Again, The conversation here can be about 2 things. One, Gonzaga is legit. I mean, they played Oklahoma and Creighton back-to-back, and they've allowed 13 assists.
That's crazy.
So Creighton did not look like what the brand of Creighton looks like. They ended up with 8 assists last night. 18 turnovers led to 27 points. This is a legit defensive, Gonzaga team. I mean, keep an eye on them. Their ranking is going to go up. But for Creighton, one thing you mentioned, and remember, you brought a lot of different pieces in, and really good pieces. Like, by the end of the year, Harper is going to be well-known across the country if he's not already well-known. Graves is going to be a key guy. Dick's got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Little slow blinker. Did not like his performance last night, and Creighton can't afford in big-time games to have him just pull a disappearing act. He can't do that. But they just there's and again, if Mac's not the head coach, then I probably overreact a little bit more, because they've had slow starts before, and Mac knows what he's doing. And he's told you that this team's going to take a little bit. Other people have looked at the roster and gone, man, this is the deepest roster I have, man. We're going with this. It's going to be great. We're going to Final Four. Here we go. Mac has been telling you, there's going to be some growing pains along the way. Guys are coming from programs that haven't won. You can bring all the portal guys you want in, but are they coming from programs that were 7-25 and they fired the coach, so that's why they're in the portal? Yeah. And the pieces don't fit together yet. You can see that they can fit together, and I saw that last night, but that's the wrong team to play in your second game together, and especially when you're still trying to figure it out on the defensive end. But point you brought up, what was probably one of the bigger takeaways from last night watching Creighton, is they were very sticky on offense. The ball didn't move. Now, when the ball moved, they got some looks, but there were too many times where it was a lot of one-on-one game.
Sure.
And I think that's guys figuring out their role on the floor. I will tell you this. Mac wants to call me this morning. I'll tell you who should be and should not be in your rotation.
Well,
that's a good basketball team they play. That's a Gonzaga team. Buy stock in right now.
Gonzaga did a great job of doing great off-ball defense and not allowing certain guys to get in spots that was actually going to initiate the offense. But like, to your point, Max said in the post-game of South Dakota, just straight up, because we don't have an inside presence.
Yeah.
Because we just don't have one. And I looked at the box score at the end of the game, and Gonzaga out-rebounded Creighton 41-33. And I was like, really? I thought it'd be way more. Like, it was a struggle on both ends of the floor near the basket against that team. Like, Gonzaga had 48-point paints. Creighton had 20. It's just every time there was a defensive rebound that went up in the air, you were holding your breath. because you were thinking that, Gonzaga just made it so tough for them to come down with it. And then Creighton, when they got to the basket, it was really tough to finish around.
They did not look like Creighton, because it was one of the rare games watching last night where they just looked outmatched.
Yeah.
Like they looked like a bye game last night. That's what that looked like, is Gonzaga bought Creighton and brought them out there to kick their ass.
And
that's what it looked like. And that's not Creighton. So, it's you're 1-1. That's again a really good Gonzaga team. In January 1, that Creighton team will look completely different. But now it's what you do with what you learn. You turn around. I watched Maryland Eastern Shore play last night.
Yeah.
That they'll blow the doors off of them. But it didn't. I don't know. There were a lot of parts of last night for Creighton that doesn't look like Creighton.
Well,
but it's the second game of the year, and you got Mack as your head coach, and he probably on the plane coming home watching film probably thought, okay, I don't want to get beat like that. I don't want to get embarrassed like that. But actually might have been okay.
Well, he said
that 2019 team turned out pretty good.
He said in the post game, he was like, sometimes you need to get your teeth kicked in for light bulbs to go off, with some guys. But another thing too, like you talk about it, that them not looking like a Creighton team. The transition offense was terrible in the second half, and it's easy to limit transition offense when you're taking the ball out of the hoop, 15 out of 29 times. At the same time, though, Gary, like even when Creighton did get a defensive rebound, they still couldn't push the floor, and they still couldn't stretch the floor.
Yeah, they were very disjointed. They looked lost at times.
I mean,
Gonzaga got in them, and they weren't hitting shots, and it's a 21-0 run.
There were times where they had to reset on a one-on-one with 10 seconds to go in the shot clock, or 6 seconds to go in the shot clock, and their best shot was taking a long three that was contested. It just even against South Dakota, there were times where like this offense is disjointed. That second half, that was tough.
Yeah, it's learning on the fly. They had some puzzling turnovers that are not Creighton-esque, but just the offense not moving the basketball. And now you got to find some people that are going to be consistent for you on both ends of the floor. Jason Green needs to play more.
Mm-hmm.
Isaac Trout needs to play less. I'm not sure what Isaac Trout does when he's not making shots. Fedor didn't play a ton last night, and I'm not sure why. But Harper and Graves are something to build on. And then I got to believe Dix will find his way. And then Freeman once Freeman gets back to 100% where he's not gassed.
Yeah.
I think they'll be fine. But
they need a better second unit too, to come like a better rotation on the second unit to come out in the first half. After the starters went out.
They played 11 guys in the first half.
Well, when they went away from the starting lineup in the first half and McAndrew was playing at the 5, it kind of was like, what do you need something a little bit different. But that comes with the fact that Owen Freeman only played 15 minutes. And that is something that you hope is going to change. It's got to change quickly, though, because they play Baylor and Iowa State, and those are two big Power 5 games that are going to count when it comes to potentially seeding.
It was a fun beginning of the game. I mean, the pace was great. At the beginning, I think it probably hurt Creighton a little bit because Creighton got sped up, and they were hitting some shots, and you're like, here we go. And then Gonzaga just kind of took over. I'm really impressed by the Gonzaga team. They've got 5 guys that are 21 or older. They play really good defense.
Mm-hmm.
They're well built. It looks like a Mark Few team where post Chet Holmgren, they had some deficiencies, but they're well built. And last night they rolled, and they will not be 19th in the country when the polls roll around. I don't think Creighton will be ranked anymore, but at this point of the season, does it even matter?
No, not really.
Yeah. On the other side, in Lincoln, okay.
It's a great transition. It's just knowing your voice. There was some decent.
There was Sanford.
Like,
there was Sam Hoiberg. He had
Hoiberg
18 career highs. So Sanford and Hoiberg combined for 37.
Price was getting to the basket. I was happy.
Hey, back-to-back games. He had 20 on Saturday. Yeah. So it was, it was a light crowd on a Tuesday on Veterans Day in Lincoln, and a little bit of a sleepy one inside of PBA. There was not. I did not notice a lot of people drinking beer.
It seemed like the biggest pop of the night came when they showed the running back. If I'm being honest,
that was a huge pop.
That was such a big pop.
But it was ugly. But I will say this about Nebraska. And they're going to get, Creighton got their test last night to kind of early in the year figure out where you're at. The Oklahoma test in Sioux Falls on Saturday will be good. Nebraska is kind of watching that game last night. They are who I think they are.
Okay.
That if they're hitting shots and especially threes, they're going to be able to go on runs. But that's not something I want to hang my hat on.
Okay.
So last night they didn't hit threes. They finished 6 of 32. Now they had some open looks. They completely changed when they came out of the locker room because in the second half last night they started to attack the rim, and I'm sure Fred was like, "Guys, this isn't falling." They did something. This team and we've talked about Nebraska basketball. I think they have, if they're not hitting shots, what's plan B? I think they have a lot of planners. They have a lot of different guys where like Mast had an off night last night. Frager didn't hit any threes. Jamarcus was okay.
Yeah.
Sanford and Hoiberg were really, really good. But they have other guys that like step up. And what is their plan B? And their plan B was defense last night. They kind of increased their defensive intensity. But it also showed you last night. And I did not hear the post game because once I got in the car, I wanted to listen to the Creighton game here on the Zone. Is Fred, and rightfully so, because they were up 31, under 8 media timeout. People are leaving. They're getting selfies with Emmett. People are exiting, and Nebraska's intensity kind of let up.
Yeah.
They put some guys in that don't normally play. Leo Curtis, by the way, had some nice minutes last night off the bench. They were garbage minutes, but he looked comfortable. I'm glad that Fred was a little bit ticked off in the last 8 minutes. But you look around college basketball, and it happened again last night. There's a lot of teams that are losing bye games that you go, whoa. Yeah. Look at DePaul. DePaul was an 18.5-point favorite playing on their home floor. They lost to Buffalo. There's other teams. UNLV lost a bye game to Montana.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bye games that are being lost in the first 7 to 8 to 9 days of the basketball season. So, Nebraska was never really like in danger of losing this game, but they didn't lose the game. And now they're 3-0 and, they're work in progress, but they get their test to see, okay, where are we at? They play Oklahoma on Saturday, but it was sweepy and PBA. Thank God. You know what? The thing that kept you awake in that game?
What?
Is that scoreboard is gigantic. So I was there for the volleyball back in August, and the scoreboard was up. It didn't dawn on me at the time how large it is.
Okay.
I think when the basketball floor is down, and and I sit kind of like eye level with the board. That thing is gigantic.
So, that's crazy. You say that. I thought the same thing at the Creighton game that I went to, because I went to the Creighton Nebraska volleyball game, and I told you I was like, man, board looks fine. I went to the basketball game. I thought that thing looked huge, and I was actually sitting higher up for the basketball game than I was for the volleyball game. Quick ops. You hit all the points. I think at least with them missing shots, at least there were quality shots they were missing in the first half. Like they were relatively open. Weird observation. Do you think that the ball handling looked a little bit tighter yesterday from Nebraska just throughout, like by committee? Do you think the ball handling? I thought the ball handling looked better. It looked like they were more capable of. It was just tighter. They just weren't turning the ball over. It looked like they were actually getting into things. Now, granted, they're playing Maryland Eastern Shore, so you should be able to get into things a little bit better. But that's something that I worry about a little bit with them not having a traditional like create like pure ball, shot creation point guard. But it looked better from a ball handling perspective. That was one. I mean, I
didn't know that they were really bad in the first 2 games. I don't know. That was an ugly start, ugly finish. In between, they got in, they got out, and they didn't lose.
Yeah.
Okay, they didn't cover the spread.
Yeah.
Some people were very upset, but they won by 19.
Why are you?
And they're 3-0.
Real quick, you say some people are upset. Why are you gambling on the bye games? You shouldn't be gambling on the.
I'm talking to you.
I'm not gambling on the
you
bye
didn't buy
games.
You didn't gamble on the bye game?
I gambled. I'm not gambling on college basketball until the middle of the season. Okay. And I probably should have
Mr. Class A.
Well, I'm not throwing anything. Okay. I'm just I'm looking at the field, right? I'm judging what the performance I'm watching. I'm being smart. You know what happened when I gambled the beginning of the season in football in Denver. All right. The sportsbook has never recovered.
He's read the pamphlet.
I have read the pamphlet, and I've become a smarter gambler. No, I'm not gambling.
So I think I can't wait for Saturday against Sioux Falls. I think that's a really good test for Nebraska, because I would like to see them when they aren't hitting shots. Can they guard? Because when they weren't hitting shots last night, they did turn it up on defense. Now,
We're
and
still
again, a sleepy night. They lost their way kind of on the glass when Maryland Eastern Shore had missed a shot in the first half. There were more offensive rebounds I think Fred would probably like. But if they can do something, if they can guard when guys aren't hitting from beyond the arc and they have something on the other end, they can ugly it up a little bit. But if they're hitting shots, they're going to be fine. If they're not hitting shots, what is that plan B? But I do like their depth because they had seven guys last night that scored 7 or more.
Okay.
And my guy got off to a great start. He knew I was in the house.
Well, then he bricked the 3, and then I was.
Why do we got to talk
about
about? Hey, just stick with the positive. Start for Bearcat.
He is the ultimate no yes guy. That is going to happen about 8 to 9 times this season. You just have to hope that he doesn't make the first 3. Like, you got to hope that Bearcat makes like the 3rd one, and then he's like, okay, I got it. Like, I did it. I did my job. And then he'll take a 4th one, he'll miss it, and then that'll be it.
He's such a peculiar person to watch when he's on the bench.
What is he doing? Is he an antsy guy? In the
no,
bench?
no, he's a good. I think he appears to be a better teammate. Guys interact with him a little bit more. He just is quirky. He just the way.
Okay,
like,
so he had a good play. This was early in the first half. He had a good play on the defensive end, and they go to their huddle, right?
Mhm.
And he tried doing the "come on, guy," like he tried doing it.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm not gonna make fun of him. He did it. You know, he showed emotion. He was trying to get where the guys really like. Hell yeah, Bearcat. No, not really, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He was, you know, he showed a little emotion. Look, I'll say this about your observation of them being able to be ugly. At least being ugly isn't the first option. You know,
no.
At least they
when
have.
they're shooting it, they got Rink is when Rink is shooting it well.
Yeah,
and it kind of is a trickle down. Yeah, they're a Purdy with the D.
Brock Purdy. Chubba Purdy?
I'm not going to overreact. I mean, Nebraska got some flaws, but they're 3-0. They didn't lose a bye game. They didn't lose 3 bye games. And look at West Georgia went to UCLA, and we're a little bit closer than when they played Nebraska.
It was funny.
Don't overthink.
It was funny when Fred was talking about Sam, and they were trying to. The question was, "Hey, Sam had a nice game. You can say some nice things about him." And he was just like, "Well, he missed 3. He goes, missed that close one up in front. I mean, you can't miss those." And he was like, "I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be positive here. Just Sam played a good game. Moving on."
All right, hey, you got the lineup. It's brought to you by the Roof Freeze of John Higgins Weather Guard. The campaign kicked off, and then they sent Emmett to PBA last night. Good dude. That is a good dude. Who, by the way, has a monster event tonight in Lincoln.
I saw that they were putting those little pamphlets on a bunch of cars in a parking lot.
Oh, really?
Lincoln. Yeah,
they were. So he's got a team, and they were handing stuff out for his event tonight at hotel. What is it? The Courtyard or some hotel in downtown in the Haymarket.
So Jack Mitchell put on his Twitter that he had a little pamphlet on his back windshield of like Emmett's event, and I don't know what parking garage Jack was in, but Jack was in a parking garage, and apparently every car had one of those pamphlets on the back.
They were so he's got an event tonight. There's a branding, a clothing brand that he is involved with.
Okay,
so he has an event tonight.
He's got good style.
I left it in the car, but walking across the bridge, there was a guy handing them out. So I thought it was like a Jesus freak.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, come on, man.
But then
I gotta worry about on Saturdays in Lincoln about my being circumcised and all this other stuff.
They're not telling you that when you walk into Memorial, are they? They never told me that when I was walking in.
Tell you,
you talked about last year.
Jesus loves Nebraska. Jesus hates Trojans. Procreate.
Mm-hmm.
Were they telling that to USC fans?
I don't know. They carry signs. I mean, I give them credit because they get a lot of abuse and they stand there and they take it.
They're very passionate.
I thought, you know what? Hey, I just stayed for 40 minutes of Nebraska, Maryland Eastern Shore. I don't need some Jesus freak on the bridge handing me a pamphlet or a CD to, hey, this is a Mix 1 tape. You think you can give me some love? And I looked at him like, oh, Emmett Johnson.
Are you looking at them being like, do you see what I just watched for the last 40 minutes? Do you think you need to doubt my faith? You think you need to doubt my ability to trust something? Look at where I'm coming from, my man.
Hey, he's a popular guy. They kicked off the campaign yesterday afternoon. He's a good dude, man. I'll tell you a quick story at some point during the show this morning.
Can't wait.
Emmett's the real deal. I mean, he's a good person who I'm glad they're going all in on this. He ain't got a shot to win the Heisman, but they are all in on this, and it's generating some nice local buzz. And I think it'll get him some national buzz. I think they're trying to get some mentions on game day.
There was also
Saturday.
There's also there was a big campaign on Instagram. I don't know if you saw it.
I'm not on Instagram.
The Heisman fan vote.
Yeah,
and all of
which Nebraska will win.
Yeah, so all of the Barstool Skurs accounts and everything like that. We're trying to get everybody to do that.
All right, let's start the morning with Larry on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Good morning, Larry. Great point, Larry. We'll take a break. We'll come back.
All right.
People got thoughts? Want to talk basketball? Want to talk about anything else? Want to talk about the college football playoff rankings, which my favorite thing happened last night?
What? The SEC got favored way too heavily?
No, stop talking about the SEC. Let's talk about the Big Ten, which has been number one for 9 straight weeks. 9 straight weeks. They have the number one team. My favorite thing happens. Teams that move up off of bye week.
Oh, yeah.
Oklahoma must have had a great week of practice. They must have been. Mateer must have been great against air. Let's move them up. But we also are on the verge of Texas and Oklahoma win this weekend. We could potentially have a Texas-Oklahoma first-round matchup at a campus site. How great would that be?
That'd be incredible.
Also, please, if Miami's going to make it, send them to Oregon. I'd love that. That would be great.
That would be.
But good job, Oklahoma. You had a great week of practice. You moved up in the playoff rankings.
If South Bend hosts a playoff game, we should think about going. We can stay.
Man, he wants to go everywhere.
You and we could stay at the McMaster household.
Okay.
I only grew up 2 hours away from South Bend.
Okay, I know
it's
that.
Very
I know where Chicago is. I know where South Bend is.
I know. We should go
Is
together.
that like how you live 5 minutes from the station?
I do live 5 minutes from the station.
402-951-1620. If you'd like to be on the show today, talk about either Creighton, Nebraska, or anything else. Talk some Nebraska football. I got thoughts. Not very little Latif talk last night, or Dylan talk.
In terms of what?
In Nebraska, down at PBA.
Well, yeah, I think they're more focused on the basketball. I don't think you're hearing the murmurs of 15 versus 14.
You know what was?
I don't think people are rubbing their chest like you rub your chest, being like, "Is this the eternal sign?" By the way, for people who want both on the team.
Yes.
Right here.
Yes.
If you see Gary,
something from yesterday.
Hey, if you see Gary, just throw him one of these. Just tell him, let you know where they stand.
Ranking of topics that came up last night that were sports related, because there's a lot of other stuff. People got thoughts.
People got takes.
People got takes on non-sports things. Is the basketball,
obviously.
Emmett.
Yep.
And then Nebraska volleyball / wrestling.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. All right. See when Nebraska football is playing well, everybody's mood changes.
That is true.
Yeah. Everything changes and everything is good.
That's why everybody was such in a crappy mood when I went there. They're always so pissed off all the time.
All right. We're off and running on a Hump Day edition of Gary and Matt with Jimmy and all of you on 1620 The Zone. All right, good Wednesday morning, everybody. What time? 12:43 was when you shut her down on the Creighton postgame show this morning.
No, so it would be we went 50. Yeah, 12:43. Is that what I said to you?
Mhm.
Yeah, just about that. Because we went live at 12. We went live at 11:48 is when we went live. So
You are the
12:43.
real people out there that hung around to watch the end of the Creighton Gonzaga game last night. Gonzaga won 90-63. So if you're going into work this morning, maybe be like Brian Kelly. If you didn't actually get fired at LSU, do you go into work? Are you like Milton from Office Space?
I read the I by the way I haven't watched that. I read the Pete Nakos article about the whole they didn't formally terminate him and everything. It's just, I mean, they already botched a hire. To then botch the fire is a whole other level of like, what the hell are you doing?
And they'll still get a really good coach.
Oh yeah, because
despite all the chaos,
they'll still call it one of the best jobs in the country, and there will be a bunch of people lining up and willing to leave other really good jobs that they are very stable in to take that job.
Yeah, do they have enough money though? I mean, 25 to 30 million compared to 53. That's kind of a large gap. I don't know if you ever had $23 million, but
no,
that's a gap. All right, let's go to the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Hello, Andrew.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey,
did you stay up all night?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I was watching the game, and I don't think Trout has the quickness enough to play meaningful minutes. I do love myself some Jason Green off the bench, and I was kind of surprised that Zugic didn't get more time. I only think he got like 5 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, and I did he come back into the game after he hit the standard? When he went down? He shot the free throws.
I don't know if he did.
Yeah,
because I was going to say he took a tough fall.
Andrew, I'm with you. Jason Green coming into the first half, he had some quality minutes. He has to play more. I'm not sure why. I don't know if John asked him on the postgame show why Fedor didn't play more.
No, he didn't.
I remember years back when you and I were talking about him coming out of high school out at North. Was it North he was at?
Millard North.
Millard North.
Mm-hmm.
And not Green, the other guy.
Trout?
Isaac Trout from Grand Island. Yes.
Grant. Yeah, and how he hasn't quite panned out to what I thought he would be. And one thing I think that really hurts Creighton in this time of basketball that really showed last night was Mac has a very specific system he plays based on spacing and communication.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with these, you don't have as much time to develop kids. And I think that really showed with Creighton last night. They didn't quite have the spacing that Creighton usually has or the communication. And I was surprised that I think Greer's going to redshirt.
He is.
But I think they could use him. But that's just my take. So that's all I have to say.
Andrew, thank you. So Hudson Greer is redshirting. That was announced yesterday. You have the coach perspective to the fan perspective, because the fan says, oh, highest rated recruit.
Yeah.
Since they've been ranking recruits in Creighton history, he's going to bounce. Coaches say, we got a plan for him. That's another where trust in Mac. They've done it before, and they've developed prospects. Could Hudson Greer help him last night? Probably. No. He would have gotten some minutes. I don't know. Help would have been the key. It's their rotation, I think, will be cut down sooner than later.
Well,
I get Trout. You cannot have Isaac Trout and Ty Davis on the floor at the same time.
No,
you just can't.
Well, they're both not nearly as good on the offensive end as the other options that you have. And then I commend their effort on the defensive end. They're trying on the defensive end, but it's not there.
I don't think you can say commend when you give up 90.
Well, I'm talking about them two specifically. I'm just saying they're just not good enough on the defensive end. And it's not for a lack of effort. It's kind of what I'm trying to say. But he said after the South Dakota game, and he said it after yesterday's game. He's like, we need to get to the point where we know the guys that we could just roll out and we can rock with them. But he communicated that they haven't gotten there yet, right? And it's just one of those things where at some point it's understandable. They have a lot of new guys that have to learn this new system. This new system isn't the easiest thing to learn, and typically year one is a struggle for some of the newer dudes that they've brought in. At the same time, though, you got to get it rolling really quickly. Like, they have to be on an advanced timeline because they've brought in, like, new guys is basically their entire rotation. And so you have to kind of mix the understanding of, okay, hey, you're learning, and hey, you get it with hey, you got to hurry up here because this is a really important non-con for Creighton to make sure that they can get some hired seeds in the NCAA tournament, because they didn't do well in the non-con last year and they ended up getting a 9, despite the fact they had a good Big East regular season.
Been a tough start for the Big East. Outside of UConn, and then St. John's got beat by a really good Alabama team on Saturday at the Garden. Big East has had some like head scratchers. I mean, Santa Clara winning in Cincinnati, Buffalo winning in Chicago yesterday.
Marquette got ran over by Indiana.
Which, hello, Tucker DeVries. Indiana basketball is weird to watch. They actually have shooters. Big Ten's got some coaches now.
They do.
Then your ranked team goes out and gets beat by 27 last night. Again, this is a little bit of I trust Mac, and Mac is smart. So, he's kind of tampered some of the expectations of guys have to get to know each other and they have to fit together. But and there's also the part of, do we really think that Josh Dix is going to shoot 2 for 11 against high-level competition every night? He didn't shoot it very well. And it just was I think Gonzaga's defensively is really, really good, and they sped up Creighton. And Creighton's development right now on offense is not good enough to overcome it consistently, where they can't have empty possessions, and all of a sudden it's a 21 love run. They looked outmatched, and you haven't seen that out of a Creighton team in a while.
Gonzaga turned Creighton into a team that, if they're playing together as a team, can be incredibly dangerous with the spacing that they have. They turned them into a one-on-one team.
And there have been times where, in high-level games where Creighton will be, here you go into the danger zone, and they'll find somebody with a corner 3. Or Kalkbrenner will hit a block, and he'll be a rim runner, and they'll lob it to him, and he'll dunk it, and all of a sudden you feel good. Instead of being down 12, all of a sudden you're within 6, and you're like, okay, we settled the waters. Last night was not one of those nights because Gonzaga just, whatever they wanted to do around the basket, they could get to the basket. There was no stopping in the paint, and it just the game got away from you. But it can't beat you twice. And they're playing a team that, the style will be more conducive to Creighton having a good Friday night.
What you though described about the whole, they make some shots that other teams can't make, and they're down this amount instead of being down that amount. That happened in the first half. I mean, Gonzaga, if you're watching that game, you could kind of tell that they are getting higher quality looks than Creighton was getting in that first half. And they were getting some open mid-range shots. They were hitting those open mid-range shots. They were getting to the basket. They were getting second chance points. Like the Jackson McAndrew, the 2 threes that he made, it's not exactly as if those were wide open, perfectly set up. Like, those were tougher shots to make. The Harper turnaround, kind of off the glass, that was a tougher shot to make. And they were down 6, and they got to the free throw line 15 times. To Gonzaga, I think they only got to the free throw line like 4 times in that first half. And so they were making tough shots and getting the free throw line more, and they were still down 6.
But they weren't. Yes, the ball was sticking in the first half still, and against Gonzaga's pressure, their actions weren't very good, so they needed shots. But again, Gonzaga, that's the best Gonzaga team since Chet's team, and they can go 8 to 9 guys deep. Wrong team to play second game of the year when you're trying to figure it out. January 1, let's check back in. Let's check on Ken Palm this morning, shall we?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Nebraska actually fell.
Yeah,
they fell to 47. Creighton fell to 53. You are into that. Now Ken Palm says that Nebraska will win 81 to 76. Now this is where, now if you are a Ken Palm lover, Ken Palm has not been high in Creighton. He actually has them not making the tournament. So he has their projected record now 17-13.
Wow.
11-9 in the league. I'll check back in after the home game against Butler on the 30th of December.
Okay. Is that kind of your marker in terms of this team needs to be clicking and the ball can't be
Well,
sticking? It can't be
January 1. That gives
Yeah.
you 2 months. You played a couple of games in the Big East because by then they will have played 3 games in the Big East. I'll do the same thing with Omaha and Nebraska.
Yeah.
I mean, it's early in the year and you got to feel things out. And all 3 programs have a deep bench. They're going to cut down on the rotation. But your benefit of the doubt probably goes more to Creighton that they'll get this turned around. Now, defensively, is this going to be a continuing problem? Because that's 76 and 90 given up in 2 games.
I think probably. I mean, even against South Dakota, Gary, South Dakota was able to get downhill on the pick and roll so effectively that they had to completely change their style of defense from, they were dropping back to then they had to start aggressively hedging. Like, I don't know, when you play some better Power 5 teams, they're going to be able to kind of figure that out. And Gonzaga was able to do that. And I'll talk about this with Gonzaga. The hidden stat of a team is their length. They are long. They are a long basketball team. They're a big basketball team.
They're well constructed,
physical.
I thought Mark Few would take a significant step back when Tommy Lloyd left because he was kind of his guy.
Yeah,
he was his international guy. They're cranking it up again. I was really impressed by them last night.
And Ike had 20. Joey and I found the stat. We did it on ourselves. He had 21 made threes heading into that game. 21 made threes in 115 career games. He made 4 threes yesterday.
Well, he definitely was not at the top of the scouting report in terms of being a third level guy because he hit his first 3.
And they were actually, I think we had Coach Ballack on in the second segment of Jay's Overtime. He was like, we were kind of daring him to shoot. And they just kind of ran into scouting report threes.
It actually was a really good game plan. There were times where Gonzaga settled for a 3 and they finished 9 of 27. Yeah. But then you go, okay, what did they do inside of the arc?
Well,
and then also Creighton didn't hit shots.
That is the key stat of the entire game.
Creighton didn't hit free throws.
No,
they had a lot of them didn't hit them.
They made 21 of 31 from the free throw line. They went 11 of 16 from the free throw line in the first half, which is really what mattered. The key stat of that game is 48 points in the paint for Gonzaga to 20 points in the paint for Creighton.
Yep. And then it's also a love affair. I'll watch a lot of Gonzaga basketball this year because I have a new guy.
Who? Adam Miller?
No.
Would
you like to guess?
Braden Huff?
No.
Taiwan Smoochie Wallace?
Nope.
Who's your new guy?
Mario.
Oh, El Principito?
Saint Superi.
That's the guy who was in Spain, correct?
Yeah.
He's the freshman?
Yep.
He looked really good.
He did look good. That's a good team. I'm glad, you know what? Great for both programs that they have brought back this home and home. Gonzaga will be here next year. It's good for the game. Wasn't good for the result last night. Not great for the resume. Not great start for the Big East. But I'm glad we had those games because we had a banger before it at the KFC Yum Center. All right, and just a quick observation. What do we have? 9 days into college basketball season. Talent's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the talent across the board in college basketball this year, pretty good. We've had 4 different number 1 teams in Ken Palm already.
Really?
Might be one of those years. Might be one of those years. This might be Nebraska's year.
I don't want to go that.
Okay. All right. Hour number 2 coming up. The campaign has begun. And why would Emmett Johnson stay at Nebraska? What does that path look like?
He's superstar.
Not very good. Just going to kill my own tease. All right. A little bit later, Jay Moore stops by. John Walker. We'll get his thoughts from last night. And also, don't forget, Hey. Where's Happer? He's going to have a late night tonight.
What's he doing tonight?
He is the voice of PBA Arena for Nebraska women's basketball. Creighton and Nebraska play tonight, but not till 8. Jeez. You'll hear it over on 1290. And then FS1 is carrying the game. So, yeah, Creighton, Nebraska women playing early.
Yeah.
Playing tonight down in Lincoln.
I was surprised yesterday when I was looking at my CBS app and that popped up that it was today.
Yep. All right. All of that to come, plus Brandon Vogel before we're out of here at 10 on a Wednesday on 1620 The Zone. All right, hour number 2 on a Wednesday where the weather in the Midwest is not real.
75
It's
now
nice.
on Friday.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
Shorts for a playoff game?
Not
quite. Yeah, knowing you,
52, 53 at
Yeah.
kickoff. I could do a tribute to our late great friend Matt Verzal and wear shorts.
That's who I thought of.
But I think I might find some pants to wear on.
You're wearing shorts today?
Yeah, but
Hell
he's in
yeah,
here.
I was excited.
Yesterday you were wearing jeans.
Yeah,
which-
because it was cold.
Which, by the way, good looking jeans, man. They were good. They were. I
Awkward.
was.
I know. He's got a chart here of your wardrobe.
Would never compliment a man's jeans. I mean, you said to me, you were like,
Ever
I
seen
hate.
a grown man naked?
Yeah, but I mean, got a dad, man. I mean, you just
Whoa.
just
I was
walk
talking about
around.
naked guy.
Morning,
That's
Dad.
okay.
Oh, okay, cool. I thought you were asking a legitimate question, but
Or airplane, excuse me.
no, you tell me how much you look. We're all about. Look, I want every day to be
Just hang
Thanksgiving,
loose, blood.
right? I want my guys to eat, right? I want to hype up my guys. I want to give them confidence. You were telling me how you hate wearing jeans.
Yeah.
You're the hype man of your group. You told me this.
You were looking good in your jeans yesterday.
Yeah, well, I wanted to be comfortable today, so I'm wearing shorts. But yes, so it was what, like 19
there he
for a
is.
low on Monday, and
There you go. Welcome back.
I was out of the stream yard.
Oh.
Yeah, I had the little charger.
so Monday it was like low of 19. Yeah, high on
Mm-hmm.
Friday is going to be 75. So the weather in the Midwest is not real.
Saturday also warm. So, what a day for a bye week.
Any we know it'll be like on Black Friday.
Oh, I don't.
I'm
think
going to
that-
guess gray and 34.
Yeah,
Has been a little bit chilly. Here's what has helped, I think. Matt Brown from Extra Points did the Freedom of
friend.
Information Act and found out beer sales. I think we might lose our title when it's the end of the year because, like Ohio State, some places don't control their own concessions, so they won't get that information until the end of the year is over.
Sure.
But right now,
I take it as a challenge.
Nebraska fans are the highest consumers of alcohol in their football stadium.
Hell yeah.
I think the weather has had a lot to do with it.
Mhm.
We really have not had bad weather football games this year.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the opposite, that maybe it's been a little chilly and you need a beer coat, but we haven't had, thinking about it, we really haven't had bad weather
Northwestern, very
football
nice
games.
up here.
It
Mhm.
was very nice.
Yeah, there's so
little better than where I was.
I think see, I'm going the hard liquor. If it's
Oh,
freezing,
right.
if it's like typical Black Friday
That's what we
Iowa,
did.
I'm slipping that thing into my boot.
Mhm.
Okay, and then I'm just. But like the weather has been nice, where it's good to have a beer.
Mhm.
To have a beer in Memorial Stadium,
Mhm.
and people have responded.
What-
Knock on wood. The weather this year for football Nebraska's been very fortunate.
What would you say is perfect beer weather?
Wow.
Did you say bear weather or beer?
Sorry.
Bear weather, 12 degrees. Beer
Beer.
weather.
You had
pretty much everything.
bear weather on Sunday against the Giants.
Yes, we did. It
Yeah.
was nice 35 degrees, nice and windy.
Terrible.
Snowflakes coming down.
Football should be played 72 and sunny.
It was awesome.
Isn't that cold?
think
for you?
Unless I'm sitting on my couch and then I don't care what it looks like. I'm hoping for snow.
Yeah.
But if I'm at the game, now I'll
It-
take sunny and 72, or I'd take sunny and 65.
were you watching the Bears game at all?
Yeah.
Like on Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you see that there was like not a lot of people in that stadium? I mean, it has never been more clear how much they need to get the hell out of that stadium and get to Arlington Heights than what it was on Sunday. Because that
I
team,
thought it looked beautiful.
that team
Oh,
is.
you are a shill for Kevin Warren.
Yeah.
No, I'm a shill.
I want my
for
climate
it-
controlled football.
No. I'm a shill for I want to take the train to a game. I'm a shill for I want parking spots. I'm a shill for I don't want to walk a mile to my stadium when I go to
You're
a
such
football
a
game.
suburban
Yeah.
guy.
Steps are good for you.
I'm a shill for I
Yeah.
would like my team who's playing good
Yeah.
football in 5-3 to have sold out games with massive with great atmospheres and a big home field advantage.
Preliminary forecast sunny and 45 on Black Friday.
Okay,
Really?
But that could change.
that's a
Ooh.
17-day forecast.
It's preliminary.
What are you oohing and on?
It could be subject to change. We will keep you posted
Gosh,
on
we've had
your
so
weather
many-
leader.
We've
What do
had
you-
so many bad weather games on Black Friday.
What do you mean subject to change? It's
It,
going
it
to
could change.
It's
Just
going
going out
to
on a
change.
limb here, but we will keep
I
you
like that.
updated
That's
from the
good.
1620 Weather Center.
All right, so back to the question you asked, because the Pimp of Wall Street
Hi,
says
Don.
that all weather is perfect beer weather.
Kind of where I was.
I
at.
don't.
Maybe not 100, but you could go inside.
I would say, am I outside or inside?
You are outside.
Okay, I'm
Well,
outside.
If you're inside,
guess
all
if you're-
it's 72 every time.
It's always perfect beer weather inside.
Except at your
no,
place.
It's fine.
All right,
Don't
I was
worry.
an idiot there.
That was a McMaster question. Don't worry.
Okay. I committed a math.
I would prefer McMaster in that regard.
I would say anything above. I don't want my beer freezing in my hand.
No,
Yeah, that was
Okay.
rough. That happened to me at Arrowhead once.
but you don't want to be in
happened in Boulder once.
Yes.
You don't want to be in 90-degree weather though either.
That's where you get your seltzers that you talk about.
whoa. Okay,
Hey,
so dang
those
it,
things
I forgot.
taste like water. I would say anything above probably 40 degrees is good beer weather
Really?
outside.
I would drink a beer in just about any weather. Let's just make that clear. I would say the perfect beer weather though is like 81 and a little breezy. Like I want the beer to cool me down a little bit, but I definitely
Well,
don't
now you're getting
want
into location when you go that temp.
Yeah.
I like how you're thinking, but then
Yeah.
you're going like location. Oh, it's 81. I want to be in a cabana.
Yeah.
I want to be, at
Is
the foothills of the Rocky Mountains.
81 in Houston or 81 in Palm Springs?
See,
Big difference.
That's a great point.
True.
To me, though, I'm so Midwestern pilled right now that I haven't been anywhere
Mm.
but the Midwest in like 3 years at this point. That I'm just thinking like I'm on very flat land, like on concrete, like near a couple benches. And in particular, I'm
Wow,
just thinking,
specific.
what's the perfect beer weather at the rail
Mm.
yard? Is really just
Okay.
where
Yeah.
That's
I'm
it.
my head's at.
But I mean, look at Nebraska's the bigger thing that I want to know
69
with
and
the Freedom
sunny.
of Information Act, and they're not going to put up a banner for the crown. By the way, I looked last night. I was like,
You're trying.
banner
I
right
know.
there.
I still kind of disagree with the fact that they're not putting up a banner with the crowd. They don't have to
Hey,
be ashamed
hey.
about it. They won.
I had an opportunity to ask somebody yesterday. I want to ask them. It's like, where is the trophy at?
Yes,
Like,
great
it-
question,
I mean,
Gary.
you never went on the tour of Hy-Vee and took Bear K out and Bryce and
Shame.
Jawan. Yeah.
What if they brought it here? What if we could display it
At the
every
Zone?
show? Yeah,
That's a great idea,
We put it
Matt.
right behind Gary. Do you know how great it would be if John Bishop had to have every single show with the crown in the background?
I feel for the crown. The crown probably would not last.
The crown would probably
Yeah.
get yelled at for making a
Um,
bad call.
So, and
Connor
again,
would be
at the end
sad.
of the year, Matt Brown will do this again, and other schools will, Nebraska will probably lose their title. But if they don't, then I think they need to hang a banner somewhere because
T-shirts?
Lincoln is never brought up as one of those great party towns. But here's
Not
where
really.
so initially you might go, oh man, Nebraska football fans are drinking a lot of beer. The team must suck because you're going to drink away your sorrows while you're watching bad football.
Or they're having fun.
Not the case. Not the case. But this is where I think you will see, things might be turning a corner in Lincoln.
Okay.
Remember the World Herald? Every,
Yeah.
December does the scan ticket story?
Sure.
And we always go, ooh, as the season goes along and the weather gets worse,
Mhm.
50,000 people scan their tickets for Wisconsin.
That was
But
Yeah.
yet we announce 85.
I was there. There was not
Yeah.
85.
You're like
but-
40% of the student section isn't here.
I had a row to myself.
But I will tell you this. Outside of the Northwestern game, which was the 11 a.m. kick, there have been very few empty seats in the stadium at kickoff.
Okay.
So I want to see what the numbers of scanned tickets are because I got to believe that they are the highest they've been for a while, like the initial Frost first year.
Sure.
It'll be
I-
good
I
for
got it.
Black Friday.
I think the scan tickets to the announced attendance this year are going to be a lot closer than they've been in the past.
Well, I think they benefited from okay, so you bring up the Northwestern game, right? That was
It was sweepy. It was 11
yeah,
a.m.
it was a little sheepy.
And then the
but-
referee showed up and everybody went, "Stop!
Mhm.
Stop!
Mhm.
Stop!" But it was
But-
sweepy,
but
and
you have-
there were no Northwestern fans there. There were a lot of empty seats up there in the corner where the
You should've
visitors sit.
gone.
Why is that your voice?
Because I'm trying now that I got Milton from Office Space in my head, because that's what I think Brian Kelly is. He just goes into work today.
Have you noticed that when I get mad at people, I give them a list? I go, why are they doing that? Why are the Huskers? This is absolutely ridiculous.
I've never been around you when you
Yeah.
get mad at the Huskers.
Well, no, when I'm imitating people who get
Oh.
mad at the Huskers, I give them a list. When you imitate people who get mad at the Huskers, you get into little boy voice. It's funny.
The guy that was really upset last night when Nebraska was up 31, and then they had a media timeout, and they came out, and all of a sudden they didn't win by 31. That guy was really, really upset. He was sitting in section 212 last night, 212, row 3. He was sitting on the end.
it was one of your friends?
Nope.
Shout out
Is
to
it
him for
Richie?
going.
I don't
Is it
sit in
Richie and Papillion?
Nope, that was not me. That was not me. I was,
No, Richie's had a week.
Were you very calm,
Hey,
cool, and
Jameis.
collected?
I was ready to go.
Was that guy gambling on the game, you think?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once again, do not gamble on Nebraska versus Maryland Eastern Shore. All right? That's like gambling on the preseason, okay? Football.
He would
Don't do
know.
that.
I still have the
would know.
screenshot.
That was a very immature decision on my part. What I was going to say though is that Nebraska has benefited from you lose to Michigan, right?
Mhm.
But then you get a bye week. And so you're not like upset and like you get a week to kind of like get the anger out and get the madness off. And then when you're back into the Michigan State game, you're back to having some like, all right, this team can bounce back and have some potential. When you go ahead and you lose to Minnesota, that's why the Northwestern game, you could say maybe was a little sleepy just because they go ahead and you're down on morale, but then you win the Northwestern game, and then you're like everybody's back into it, and so then they show up and they're really excited for the USC game. You go ahead now for the Iowa game, even after you lost to USC because you beat UCLA. Now you have that excitement,
and it's
back.
Latif's first home start.
Yeah, exactly. And so now you're back. So like there's been
point.
like the bye weeks and like how the away games have gone, like have kind of benefited them in terms of having the excitement back for the home games, I think is a factor. I also do think though, there's just general excitement. They're 7-3 through 10 games.
Nebraskans love football.
That's what I want to see this game. Hey, they do. Great point about that'll be Latif's only home start.
How many 14 jerseys are out there?
We get 2 games. We get 2 games.
I'm just asking. I'm just asking.
We get 2
You
games.
were the guy rubbing your chest yesterday, being like 4 and 5, baby. Bring them both back. I just wonder how many
Husker
people,
Hounds will be working on it after the Penn State game.
Look, if you're a Tiffy, go out and get a 14. If you're Andrew and Doug, they should go out and get 14.
Get a 14
jerseys.
for Lance Brown. Support local.
Yeah.
I just one quick thing here on Nebraska basketball. So this is actually why I'm so excited about Ken Palm, because this is the first year like I have all access to everything.
What's that password?
It's 1, 2, 3, 4.
You're the worst.
Ken Palm has Nebraska going 8-0 before their first loss would be at Wisconsin in December. They haven't beaten Oklahoma by 2.
Okay.
Has Creighton 4-4 in their first 8.
So what? Losing to
Creighton's,
Gonzaga.
Creighton's next stretch is a little bit tougher than Nebraska's.
Do they have them beating Kansas State then? Is that the one power win that they end up getting? Because then I probably have them losing what?
Yes,
Iowa State
Kansas
and Baylor?
State on the 13th of December.
How much do they have Kansas State, them beating Kansas State
by 3?
Jeez, okay.
Ken Palm hates Creighton. Not sure why, because I met him once and he loved Doug McDermott. I just wish the Sacramento Kings loved Doug McDermott. Free Doug out there on the West Coast. Got beat last night by the Nuggets. All right.
I'm pretty sure everybody who plays for Sacramento, their fans are wanting them to be freed.
We had a rough day yesterday, man. Doug Christie was like, if you say anything negative about the Kings, you're a fake fan. And I'm like,
already?
Oh, we're 3-8.
But yeah, we're 11 games into the season.
Probably going to get rid
Gary.
of Sabonis. It's rough, man. I don't know why I became a member of the Beam team. I jumped on the bandwagon when they were playing well. Now it's been tough the last 2 years.
I told you that was a mistake the minute you told me.
But I kind of like watching them.
Why do you like watching them?
They're entertaining because they have a bunch of pieces that don't fit.
Yeah, I know. They have Russell Westbrook. They have 3.
Keegan
and Dennis Schroeder.
Murray.
They have 4.
Yeah.
Is he back yet?
Keegan?
Yeah, that's tough.
But he sits on the bench and he looks good. Okay.
Nicely dressed.
There is so Nebraska. This was a comment that came up yesterday into the Equitable Bank inbox about the bowls, where Nebraska is going to go for a bowl game. I know there, people like to go to Nashville. There is, by the way, if you go to Nashville, there is more than Broadway. Broadway is a very popular strip.
Yeah.
But like when you go to Vegas, you'll say, I got to go to the strip. But I'll say, go to Old Vegas. Go down to Fremont Street. Don't just hang out on the strip. Get off the strip, maybe just a block, and your world opens up. Just don't assume that female is a female. Okay. So like to Nashville, everybody goes, oh, Broadway. Broadway is very entertaining, but there are other parts of Nashville that are very, very nice. So a lot of people would like to go to Nashville again. Nebraska was there in 2016. So Nashville, it does look like wherever Nebraska is going to go outside of Vegas it's going to be an SEC team. So possibly in Nashville, it would be Mizzou on the 30th of December. That would be on ESPN at 3:30.
Okay.
But as Matt Rule, Sean Kelly, others that want to go to Florida would like to go to Tampa, and there would be the possibility that you could get Nebraska, Oklahoma playing in Tampa.
That'd be great.
I just want to remind people that you know what time that kickoff is?
8:30 p.m.
No, 10 a.m. Central Time.
God.
It is on ESPN on New Year's Eve day. So,
Oh God, I'm going to be
Just-
hungover for that.
Those people
already on New Year's Eve day?
What would that be on the 30? That'd be on the 31st.
Oh, I think he meant you
I
thought
thought
the first.
I thought you meant the first. I thought you meant New Year's Day.
but he
New
stands
Year's
corrected.
Eve
You'll
day.
still be
No,
drinking
I
then.
won't. I won't drink on the 30th. You know, I won't do it
Oh,
like that. No, I won't be partying it up. I'll probably be on a plane back to Omaha.
more reason to drink for the
Yeah.
plane.
I'm not a big drink on the plane guy. I kind of just, like I said, I get nervous on them, and then, like that doesn't really help me at all or anything like that. It doesn't, making me calmer just actually.
Okay, so
makes
it's
my anxiety
11. So
worse.
it's 11 a.m. local.
Okay,
11 a.m. local
New Year's Eve.
on ESPN on New Year's Eve day.
Start your day.
yeah,
So
we
that
put the
wouldn't
grill
that wouldn't
on?
be bad. We're used to 11 a.m. Kickoffs.
it wouldn't be that.
So choose your fighter. Pick Latif or Raiola, and pick Nashville or Tampa.
Okay, first off, you don't have to pick Latif or Raiola. You can very much be like, I'm happy that Nebraska has them both. Secondly, Tampa.
Okay.
I think I have an unfair though bias on, and maybe I'm not alone
That's
here.
okay.
I haven't been to Nashville, but you see all the people who are from Nashville talk about how there's just too many tourists and it just has lost its culture and it's lost its flavor.
That's
And it's
everywhere.
just
Cool,
like-
though.
Yeah, a lot of places are like that, but it's just like I see how people from Nashville don't like how Nashville has turned into such a touristy place.
That's what they say.
And
in
that they've
Fargo.
kind of lost their city. I feel bad for them.
Do they?
They say Fargo, North Dakota has lost its culture.
Oh yeah. Too many tourists.
I would really like to see Fargo when it's not cold.
There's a couple
'Cause
weeks in
there's-
July.
The downtown is really nice. We would stay downtown.
Have you never
The
been to Fargo
Jasper.
in the summer?
No, why would I go to Fargo?
I
in
don't
the summer?
know. Maybe you're a very
Go
well
to
traveled
Wrigley,
human.
Go to Fargo.
I don't need to do a summer Summit League trip.
Why
even though
not?
I
That would be
briefly
fun.
thought about that. But here, in all honesty, with Nebraska picking their bowl site, and because everybody's doing the math, like, okay, if they get to 8, where do they go? If they get to 9, where do they go? If they stay at 7, do they go to Vegas? If you are the Vegas Convention and Visitors Bureau, and you're working with the Las Vegas Bowl, which is
Yeah.
on New Year's Eve, you want Nebraska.
begging.
I think if
You want Nebraska because it post COVID
Mhm.
costs a lot, man, in Vegas,
sure.
and the tourism is down.
West Coast Huskers all
So-
over it.
I mean, it's the prices are ridiculous. Still, I'm going to go regardless because I love Vegas,
Yeah.
but a lot of people are not going. They're finding other places to go. But if you're in charge of putting heads in beds, you're like, hey, Las Vegas Bowl, whatever you got to do, cut a deal. You know what? Pay to keep TJ Lateef at Nebraska. I don't care.
Mhm.
Get Nebraska to the Vegas Bowl and all of that red.
Well, you know that I'm going.
People, Nebraska fans love the West Coast.
I'm planning on going in 5 months to Vegas as like a trip on my own, and it's very expensive still. Like I'm 5 months out, and the airfare is still
Mhm.
pretty. Like it ain't cheap. And same thing with like the hotel. I'm like I'm getting I have to get a hotel room that is like 2 queens. So we could split the cost. Like it is. I'm 5 months out, and it's still costing an arm and a leg to get out there. But I think if you're every bowl, Gary, that you want Nebraska. I mean, like, look at what they.
Yeah, but I don't
all-
think every bowl would have. There's just some places where Nebraska just would not go in droves. Like
You-
the 3 options this year: Vegas, Nashville, Tampa, are all. If I'm a fan,
Yeah.
and I'm going to spend that money,
Mhm.
and maybe I haven't, because there are a couple of long away road games.
Sure.
I haven't gone. I didn't go to Maryland. I didn't go to Penn State. I didn't go to the Rose Bowl. I drove to Minnesota, so I saved a little money for a bowl
You
trip.
got that money.
Um,
You can drive to
you-
Nashville.
those 3 would be very, very enticing. But if all of a sudden Nebraska's going to Detroit,
Oh God, no.
I'm like,
Yeah.
or Charlotte,
But if I'm Tampa,
But Vegas,
I want.
Vegas, with all the
Vegas,
people that are on that side of the country in the GBR nation, and Nebraska loves the West Coast. They would look like a Niners game at the
Yes.
Roomba against the Raiders.
I think out of all the cities, probably Nashville is probably the one that isn't dying to necessarily get Nebraska.
Of those 3, the
Nashville's
weather
doing-
would be the worst. Remember, one of the games
Yeah.
is indoors. You got Tampa.
Unless you get unseasonably warm, which is always possible.
Mm.
You can get 70.
But this is a good
Could
option
get
to have,
20.
just like it's a good option to have.
How many bowl games have you been to in your
Not many.
lifetime?
Well,
I-
I mean, I haven't been to, like, in the last 15 years or so,
Yeah.
only a couple.
Yeah.
Used to go
mean,
pretty
there's a
regularly because I
reason.
was working.
Sure.
Um,
I've been to none.
They're fun.
At no point did my dad ever go, yeah, we got to go to the Outback Bowl and see Clayton Thorson go and sling it, or see Trevor Siemian in the Holiday Bowl.
yeah,
And
now
then-
so is it to get you to go? Is it more about the location or the opponent?
I
Because
think
if Nebraska
question.
and Oklahoma are playing, or Nebraska Mizzou,
I think it would be more about. Oh, that's a great question. You know what? If it's a historic, so if it's Oklahoma, I don't think it really matters where the bowl site. I
Mhm.
think you would go. I think if it's Missouri, I think you would go. Now, if they play, I saw one team that they were was Vanderbilt. Like I
Yeah.
saw that's a team they could potentially play.
That's a
If
historic
they played
matchup.
Vandy, I think it would depend. Like I don't know if I'm shelling out over $1,500 or whatever it might be to go and see them play Vanderbilt, right? Unless it's, hey, I really like Vegas and I got points at Vegas and I like going out there, or I've never been to Nashville, I want to go to Nashville, right? But if they're playing Mizzou or Oklahoma, or if they're playing Tennessee,
yeah,
You
that's
know?
been one team that's been mentioned.
like if they're playing one of those three teams, hell yeah, I think regardless of where they're at, you go.
All right, coming up at the top of the hour, Jay Moore will stop by and break down Nebraska's win over UCLA, what to do during the bye week, and maybe we do a little shopping. Let's play with somebody else's money, whoever stepped up. What Rule said the Monday after the Penn State job opened up about finances compared to what he said this past Monday. Who you? Who you out there? who you all that stepped up? What changed?
Man,
The tone
the
changed.
confidence,
The money changed.
The peacocking he was
Yeah.
doing at that podium.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a little shopping with somebody else's money.
I like that.
As Nebraska starts looking at their 26 roster. We'll do of our own also a little bit later here on Gary and Matt, 1620 The Zone. All right, as we come to the end of the regular season in college football, go to 1620thezone.com. Enter for your chance to win 2 tickets to the Ultimate Blur Tailgate Party. It's the last one in Lincoln. It's been a great year. Great partners, good times. We've had engagements. We've had gender reveals. We've had drunkenness. We've had a lot of selfies. We've had a lot of high fives, a lot of fist bumps, a lot of hugging, a lot of excitement at the Blur Tailgate Party. And we've just got one more to go. It's before Nebraska, Iowa on Black Friday. Go to 1620thezone.com right now while you listen to the show.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy. Just
pull over.
Yep. Exactly. Just get off of.
Stop in your tracks.
Get off of Dodge. Get off of Dodge. But go to 1620thezone.com and sign up. And there's a lot of goodies on 1620thezone.com.
Hey, by the way, our winner for the 4-quarter pick'em is a friend of the show, loves our show, John Cady. He won, and we are his favorite show, so I want to give him a shout out.
Good job, John.
Ball knower, John.
Mm-hmm. Is John going to stop in to pick up his big check and take a picture with us?
I believe so.
All right.
I'm in second to last place in that.
I mean, hey, you're moving up. Who's
I'm,
in last?
I'm boycotting that thing.
Why are you boycotting?
Because my own company misspelled my name.
That was BS.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That was terrible. I had
don't
to.
spell Gary with 2 R's.
And I didn't know that because I wasn't checking.
I brought that to your attention.
Yeah, and so I'm like, I'm out. Is my name still misspelled?
Oh, I can check right now.
Yeah. By the way, also, and this is not like a snarky, get off my lawn.
No, but I like it when you have these takes.
No, this is not the take. I do enjoy seeing everybody's Northern Lights pictures.
Okay.
Do not tinkle on people that are posting the Northern Lights picture, even if it's from an iPhone 15. Because it was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. It was really, really cool. And if you were like driving back from the bar because you don't have YouTube TV, you have YouTube TV, so you had to go to a bar to watch the Creighton game. You were driving back from Lincoln. You saw them, and a little bit this morning when I was driving in.
I missed that.
I'm making my morning seeing a lot of pictures from people around the area of the Northern Lights.
Well, I'm the follower of people who are mostly younger, and it's just making me feel lonely.
Wow.
Everybody's holding their hands with their significant.
Who are you following?
No, they're not.
That's on my Instagram. It's my personal Instagram.
Well, I think they're trolling you.
Yeah.
They're not trolling me.
I follow married people. Nobody holds hands.
There were people that are saying, hey, I just went outside and looked at it. There were other people saying, I got to take a picture because you got to document everything.
Do you have to document everything nowadays? You got to document the food that you eat.
Hey, I enjoy people's food pictures. I know that's
a document.
not a hot
where
take.
you're at. I mean, I did document. I shouldn't be talking. I documented a whole day at the zoo. I mean, it's not like
that's great.
I'm innocent of that. By the way, Josh Hodson's in first. You and Jimmy are tied for second.
Look at that.
Is my name still misspelled?
Still misspelled.
Oh.
I'm in. Nick Grimm's in last. Josh Peterson's in second to last, and then I'm in between Peterson and Happer. With
Nick won.
You know what?
Year.
Now I'm fired up. If the company's going to misspell my name on our own website, I'm going to win the damn thing.
You could win money.
Okay.
It's not misspelled on because you can go to the individual, like Gary, you got 7 out of 10 last week. You had a really good week. When you can click on the top panel, your name is correct, right? But on the overall, what the standing is, it's incorrect.
Okay. I went down a rabbit hole yesterday. I got caught on YouTube. Does anybody realize how crazy it was that not too long ago, USC football had Drake London, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and also Michael Pittman Jr. as their wide receivers. Not too long ago. I was looking at something else, and all of a sudden that was like on the next thing, and I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, damn, they have those 3 guys as wide receivers. And I don't know, because Sam was talking about USC, watch USC, and maybe my phone was listening, and so all of a sudden my YouTube put that into my algorithm. Damn, that's a pretty good trio of wide receivers that USC had not too long ago.
Pretty sure Brew McCoy was on that team as well, who ended up being a pretty big wide receiver for Tennessee later in his career.
So last night at you brought it up. If you were at the Nebraska basketball game, the man that was wearing a T-shirt that said H21SMAN. That is the Emmett Johnson Heisman campaign that kicked off yesterday. So he was at the basketball game last night and got a loud pop.
He sounded like Dusty at Mid-South Wrestling. I mean, that was incredible.
So this is, and it's, you have a game like UCLA, and you're like, all right, we got a bye week. Let's take advantage of this. So they roll out the campaign, and good on them, because Nebraska, you know what? Maybe Nebraska athletics is changing. They've always been so stodgy. They've always been so, no, we got to wear blue blood. We're having alternate uniforms. We're having blackouts that are promoted by the athletic department.
Yeah.
Now we've got campaigns. We haven't had a campaign since they sent batteries to us for Amir.
Yeah, AA, baby.
So they have this campaign for Emmett, and he goes to the basketball game last night. So we were in the first segment. I didn't see the flyer that was handed to me, and it's well put together.
Yeah.
But so they were handing them out, and then, as you mentioned, Jack Mitchell from our sister station in Lincoln parked in one of the parking garages, and they were putting it on. So it's a meet and greet at the Courtyard by Marriott in Lincoln tonight at
Nice.
7:30. It's with a brand that he is attached to. I'll say this about Emmett, and he's not going to win the Heisman, and the goal here is to get him to New York. And I don't know if that's going to be possible. But man, he's got a hell of a story to tell, and it's not just, hey, he was under recruited in Minnesota. I mean, like, look at his life story, and then to Nebraska. Had an interaction with him last night.
Okay, I'm excited.
And I don't know him. I've had very little interaction with him since he's been here at Nebraska. But buddy of mine that took to the game, his son, he's like, I want to go down and I want to meet Emmett Johnson. Do you know Emmett Johnson? I'm like, no. And his dad's like, you think we can like get an autograph?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you gonna have him sign your phone?
Well,
and
something.
And so like they wanted a selfie.
Yeah.
And good on him. I mean, they did the same thing when they did their high school tour. Man, he's a good dude. Mm. He not only, like, kids he's great with, and he was taking a lot of selfies, but even like adults, he like would talk, like would like engage in conversation. And I'm like, you don't have to do that, man.
Yeah.
It's your off night, it's your off week. But you're here. That's for all the student athletes from around this area, male and female, that do that. They take time, first and foremost, do it with the kids, but then adults who, just want to say, hey, thanks, congratulations, or whatever, and you engage in a little conversation. That's good on him. I was like, oh, that's a good person. That is a really, really good person that I wish the best for, whether they're running the football for my team or not. But I was thinking about the campaign.
Yeah.
And like they launched it. He's got a good story to tell. He's not a quarterback, so sorry. But he's going to win the fan vote, because Nebraskans will not lose a fan vote. It's just, I'm wondering what kind of an impact it'll have outside of here. Like Saturday morning when we wake up and we watch the pregame shows, Matt, do you think they'll talk about Emmett Johnson?
Yes.
So that's maybe one of the bigger impacts is that in a bye week, maybe Emmett gets on a show.
You're gonna have,
maybe he's on with Rule on McAfee the Friday.
So that's exactly what I was gonna say. I think that McAfee will be like, hey, by the way, honestly, I think a lot of McAfee and Rule's appearance this week will be the Emmett Johnson Heisman Trophy campaign. Like, I think that, what Pat's gonna say, Coach, you got a dog. All right. I mean, number 21. I mean, coming in and Minnesota didn't want him. Teams didn't want him. They're overlooking him. Man, you got a guy, man. You got to do Emmett Johnson. I mean, he's already earlier when we were talking about the impact of Emmett and Rule, he called Emmett by his first name. He said Emmett. He just Pat McAfee just referenced Emmett Johnson as Emmett, so he's already a guy that McAfee knows. So I think you're right. That'll be a campaign thing, but I think Kirk Herbstreit will go ahead, because Kirk's really good about that, shouting out good players, giving people shout outs. I wouldn't be surprised if on game day, Kirk finds a way to just kind of drop, hey, Emmett Johnson having a really good year, something with they're trying to get him a Heisman Trophy campaign or something like that. Like, and also too, it's awesome for recruiting. Like this campaign is always be crude. Okay. Because if they were to actually do it, they were to actually get Emmett Johnson to New York, have him sitting down in one of those chairs, have them do the little close-up shot, right, of him in a nice suit, everything like that. The story that Matt Rule could tell and EJ Barthel can tell, and just that program could tell to recruits of like, look at this guy who, when we got here, he was buried on the depth chart, 4th running back on our roster behind 3 different dudes, and he ends up being in New York. Like, imagine with your talent what you can be. Like, that would be their best recruiting tool.
It's going to kick you that Nebraska lost to USC.
It is.
Because if they
It
don't
is.
lose
It
to
is.
USC, they're probably last night was a night we paid attention to the college football playoff rankings, and Emmett's odds are better than they are now. Again, he's not going to win, so the campaign is just to get him to New York and to get attention, bring attention to Nebraska football. You're right, always be Cruton, and he's gonna. I'm not as familiar with the Doak Walker Award ceremony. Do they invite just the winner, or do they invite like the semifinalists, which he's part of?
What do they do with the other awards? Do they invite?
Well,
the
ESPN doesn't
runner-ups?
ESPN still have their big award show?
I don't know. I have no clue. I mean,
That shows you how unfortunate Nebraska football has been. That we used to pay attention to all the award shows.
It's just an SEC
hey, there's
honk show
Wistrom.
now.
Hey, there's Wistrom winning that award. Hey, there's Levante.
Yeah.
Hey, there's Sue.
Yeah.
Now I haven't paid much attention to the shows for a while. I pay attention to the Heisman show at the end to see what Johnny and Mike are wearing.
Emmett would be. This is just we always do the looking back on where Nebraska was to where Nebraska now is and what students had and what students currently have. Like Emmett Johnson would be the first individual award winner since I was since I went to Lincoln.
I mean, he's being mentioned. I mean, and you know the also the All-American campaign. There's your record, your team record comes into play a little bit, and so let's say Michigan runs the table, and even though he has been injured and hasn't played a full season, we'll actually not have a full season of games. Haynes will get some love. Love, of course, will probably already have a slot on an All-American team. He's being mentioned yards from scrimmage, doing something that Rozier hasn't been done since Rozier. He's being mentioned as, Nebraska hasn't had a first-team All-American since Levante in 11. Typical Nebraska football, they have a year where they have 2 All-Americans and losing the national championship game badly when you have Finoti and Crouch in 2001.
Yeah.
So it's just it's a really good story, but I think what it also does, Nebraska's willing to do something like this, but now who's going to tell the other part of Emmett's family? That's where the door opens up and you go beyond football, and it makes it like, oh my gosh, what a great kid. That's the Rinaldi is going to make you cry. Because he's going to tell you Emmett Johnson's upbringing, and he's going to make you cry. That's what this story could be. So at least they've started. We got to take a break, but when we come back, so I was thinking about Emmett, and again, good dude, good dude, and
that's awesome.
Somebody just commented, during a bye week, boy, this will throw the attention off. I don't think so. I think he's built a little bit different. Would you like to go there? Where the Nebraska football program in 2025 would be if Emmett didn't have this year and Mac Eckler was still in Knoxville. Would you like to go down that path? I think we should.
Okay.
I think we should.
I was going to say no. I think we know where we would be. But if you want to, we can.
Let's go down that path.
We can gallivant down that path if you want.
No Emmett monster year, no Mike Eckler in Lincoln. What's this season look like?
Bad.
Save it. We'll do that when we come back. Jay Moore's coming up at the top of the hour. Also, John Walker will get his thoughts on what he saw in Spokane last night. Maryland Eastern Shore, welcome to Omaha. Waking up this morning, if you see guys from Maryland Eastern Shore, welcome them, because they're going to spend the week in Nebraska. They play Creighton on Friday after losing last night at PBA by 19.
Go to the zoo. The aquarium's great. Look at the penguins.
Man,
Go and say hi to Gary's penguin.
Hey.
What's her? It's Sydney, right? You got your penguin Sydney in there?
Yes. We gotta find something better in Omaha. Like, you can't just the default is, hey, go to the zoo.
Well, no, I know.
Westroads?
I've talked about this where I did both. I went to Westroads and I went to the zoo, and now I'm like, hey guys, can you tell me more of what I can do to pass time here sometimes? But other than go to a bar, go to a bar and meet great people. It's kind of my favorite thing to do in Omaha.
Do visitors come all the way to Omaha to go to a bar to meet great people?
I mean, that's what I've been doing.
You live here.
I moved here just to go to great bars.
Hey, well, you guys talk about Westroads? Dude, Oakview Mall is so depressing.
Is it?
It is so depressing. There's so many people that they grew up, that was their mall when they were growing up.
Yeah.
And now it's close.
You got to go
close to being on its last legs.
You got to go to,
not structurally, but just there's nothing there.
You got to go to Nebraska Crossing because they're actually having some great deals right now. Like even the outlet stores are on clearance. This is the time to do your holiday.
Hey,
shopping.
I might because word on the street is The god-awful project on I-80 between Elle and Giles
No way.
is supposed to be done today.
Yeah. I might drive there just to see if that's the case. Oh my God.
Oh, that's caused so much consternation.
Can you imagine trying to get to Gretna under 30 minutes? Never's happened to me before.
Oh, and some people get from NRG Media to Memorial Stadium in less than 15.
That is still one of the craziest stories ever.
I wasn't driving. Okay. 43 past the hour. Jay Moore, John Walker, and Brandon Vogel, all part of the Wednesday lineup of Gary and Matt with Jimmy on 1620 The Zone. All right, this is how the world of college basketball recruiting has changed. You guys know what today is?
No. Is it National Signing Day?
Today is National Signing Day.
I remember that.
So before the portal and all of that stuff, this used to be a big day when you used to recruit high school kids. This will be a good day for all 3 Division I men's basketball programs who are signing really good classes. Omaha will sign the top recruit ever, Marcus Harrison, who plays for Overtime Elite. He's out of Atlanta. They actually beat Missouri, Georgia, and Georgia Tech for him. He is top 160. That's never happened at Omaha. Plus, they will add 3 more. Creighton will have a good signing day. And Nebraska, for the first time since 2021, will have 2 top 100 players in Rice and Lanier. Both will sign. So signing day starts today. But this used to, like the basketball signing day, big deal. Now people are like, really? Really? Just go get kids in the portal.
It used to be, well, even with college football, you used to have the National Signing Day show on ESPN, and they would be at all sorts of different camps and whatnot.
Now you still do. You just don't have, like, the February one isn't like
sure.
People I know would take days off. They would take the Wednesday off for signing day for football. Now you got it. Now you got it coming up here. Mm-hmm. Now things are going to go quick, boys and girls. So buckle up, because signing day, Nebraska is trying to add to their class of 26. We might be in flip season. Yeah. And then you turn around and January 2nd, the portal opens up, and I think the portal season around here will be of interest.
Yeah, I think it'll be. How long is the portal? It's 13 days.
January 2nd to January 16th.
Okay, so 14 days. That will be a wild 2 weeks here of just tracking where everybody's going to go. But did you see yesterday that there was a Penn State, I don't know his name, and I don't really want to put him on blast, but there was a Penn State high school recruit who said in a Twitter post, he goes, I am still committed to Penn State, and I still love, the Nittany Lions, whatever, but I'm reopening my commitment.
Yeah.
How does that work? How do you say, hey, I still love Penn State and I'm committed to what they're doing, but I'm just going to reopen
But if
my
you pay me more money.
It's open marriage.
Yeah.
You see it a lot nowadays.
Yeah.
Not particularly in this part of the country, but other parts of the country, a lot of open marriages.
Mm-hmm. There's a throuple in college football. Just a guy that bounces back between 2 teams. That's what Lane Kiffin's going to do this year when he's coaching Ole Miss and Florida at the same time.
Polyamorous ball.
Yes, that sounds like a really good
podcast.
That sounds like a Chad Powers like Netflix.
Sounds like a good lifestyle for you. Are we rooting for Michigan State this weekend? So Michigan State, Penn State play next week in Happy Valley, which the game could kick off from 7 a.m. to midnight. Mm-hmm. If Penn State loses, now they haven't completely cratered, but yet they haven't won a game in the Big Ten this year. Mm-hmm. But against Ohio State, they had a pulse for a bit. They had a longer pulse against Indiana. It'll be their senior day. Possibly Nick Singleton has found his love again. They're at Michigan State, but they have to run the table to make a bowl game. Mm-hmm. So if Michigan State at home beats Penn State, that's a huge benefit for Nebraska, because they'll walk out to State College and play a team that is like, all right, let's wave to the crowd on senior day and then just get out of here. I mean, so rooting for Michigan State this weekend, right?
There's part of me that wants Penn State to win, so we don't do the whole, if Nebraska were to win, you say, wow, this is the worst Penn State team in like 45
I'm past that,
years.
brother.
Their problem.
I'm past that, brother, because Nebraska might win 9 games and only 3 of them against teams that finish above 500. So I'm past that.
That's not their fault.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's part of the reason why I'm like, I wouldn't mind if they were to win. Now, you're right. It would be a sizable advantage if they were 3-7 walking into that game, and they literally had nothing to play for. And probably a ton of those guys are, you know what? I wouldn't be shocked if they were 3-7 and some of those guys say, see, I'm heading into the portal. I'm getting ahead of this.
So they're auditioning. They can play harder.
Well,
they're doing load management.
There's some guys on
Hello, Darren Peterson of KU.
What did he do?
If I was,
he didn't play.
I got a hammy last night. He sat out, did a little load management, didn't play against Texas A&M Corpus Christi.
The Islanders.
Hey, if I was a big time player, these bye games, I do my load. I'd get ready for the NBA by load managing in college.
Mm-hmm. That'd be ridiculous.
It's
you're only playing 35 games. What would an NBA team think if you if I have a little
tweaked hammy? I'm not taking the floor against Texas A&M. Who knows where you're from?
Exactly,
Well,
which was literally what was said in my house last night while we were watching action.
But probably wouldn't that already happen to begin with? If you had a tweet Tammy, you'd probably sit down anyway. I don't know. If they were doing true load management in college basketball, I as an NBA team would be like, dude, you're not even playing half the games you're going to end up having to play.
No, you'll
here.
play more than half the games, but you're playing like 4 or 5 just basically layup line games.
We're not playing against Howard.
No, but what I was saying is that like if you're load managing for a 36 game season, what are you going to be doing for an 82 game season?
More load management.
You're going to be preparing yourself for what happens in the NBA. Is what you're going to be doing. All right, ask the question here. We got to do it quick here because we got Jay at the top of the hour. No Mike Eckler. No Emmett Johnson monster season. Is Nebraska still battling for bowl eligibility today?
Yes. I can only say solidly, for sure, without a doubt, that they would win Cincinnati, Akron, and Houston Christian.
Okay.
That those are the three.
The same result, Michigan.
I don't like Michigan State.
All right, we're at 4. We're cooking. All right, we're on to Maryland.
Okay, I don't think Maryland's a tough game. They probably don't beat Maryland.
Okay, so
they don't
beat Maryland. 2.
They don't. They still lose Minnesota.
4-3.
Northwestern's a toss-up.
Let's give them a win.
Okay, so 5. Yeah, they probably beat UCLA. So they for sure lose the Maryland game.
It's not a good discussion to have to wonder, where Nebraska would be if Emmett was not having an All-American type year and Mike Eckler had said, Matt Rule, who?
I think you definitely. I like Northwestern and Michigan State. I think you lose one of those games.
Okay.
So they would be. So that's 2 less wins. So they would be 5-5 with 2 game with.
We know that
Penn
music.
State and Iowa to play.
Ooh.
That'd be tough.
You imagine the tension convention around here if Nebraska and a bye week was still not bowl eligible with 2 to go, and one of them included your chief rival.
We've done it before.
Yeah, that'd be dude. Talk about clutch and
Hey,
pearl
we
season.
have. You know what? Remember that
better.
time when you had to go into Black Friday to beat Iowa to become bowl eligible?
2 years ago. Deacon Hill beat you. You got beat by Deacon frickin' Hill. How many people in college football really remember who Deacon Hill is?
I don't know. I'd rather have a TJ Lateef than a Deacon Hill as my backup.
Well, yes. I think
that's a good problem to have, folks.
Okay, now you're doing it slower and more sensual. Not a fan of that.
Because
I liked it when it was a brushing of the breast. Now it's a rubbing
on
of the
one
breast.
number, and people can only see this on 1620 the Zone TV. On one number, should I go slow and on the other go fast because of
you want to get that friction going.
They're
see, but the one you go slower on, you should go longer because he could push the ball down the field, you know. Or the other one.
Okay, now you're overthinking it. Now you're getting really weird.
Now
Jay's not going to be on.
Getting really weird.
This is kind of
stick to your own bit, kid.
This is
all right. Jay Moore's coming up next in 1620 the Zone.
Why are you laughing?
Not. This song just
warms the cockles.
So I think our 16 zoners on TV can hear this. Not sure.
I don't think they can.
Okay.
The music? No.
Okay. They can't?
No, not on the stream.
Let's fix that.
No, that copyright. It's called copyright.
Yeah,
We would get.
So this is all right now from free.
Yeah.
So this is a song when you hear it at 8 a.m, it just kind of hits you differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed to when it's at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Now I've kept it on when you're on stream.
Like if I was driving to work today with the top down and my hair blowing in the wind, this would be a song that I'd be cranking.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I can't wait to pull into work. I'm going into that meeting and I'm going to conquer the world. Or you just had a good night last night. Maybe you were like, you know what? Love Nebraska ball. But man, Maryland Eastern Shore getting 33.5. I love you. I don't know where you're from or what your record is, but I love you. Maybe you're like, all right.
Aren't they from the Eastern Shore of Maryland?
They're from the state of Maryland, yes. And now they're staying at the courtyard here in Omaha today. All right, let's welcome in our good friend. Stop doing that.
Okay.
Jay Moore, former Black
You
Shirt.
told me to do that when he gets on. That was
Yeah,
your signal.
but out of the corner of my eye,
we did the teeth.
I could see you rubbing your nipple, and I didn't need to see that.
I mean, you said when Jay gets on, do the teeth.
Yeah. Hey, Jay, welcome.
Hey, Jay.
Guys.
Welcome in. Hey, so let's just get to this, because you played with some really good players that got some postseason accolades, and you've gotten some accolades as well. But Nebraska's never really promoted a player. Even when Crouch was up for the Heisman, there wasn't like this big push. Now, a great kid like Emmett, who's got a great story to tell of where he came from. You know, his mom and dad, Charles and Precious, they fled to the U.S. from Liberia. They were having civil wars in Liberia. They said, got to get out. They eventually settled in Minnesota. Three-sport athlete at Academy of Holy Angels, where Emmett was, not recruited by Minnesota. Ron Brown says, hey, Scott, we got to offer this kid. And Scott's like, okay. And then the rest is history. What's your reaction to seeing Nebraska athletics going all in on promoting Emmett for postseason accolades?
I love it. I think if Nebraska had one less loss, two less losses, I don't think it would take as much promoting as it would need to be. But also I recognize today's day and age where if you're not a quarterback, it's really, really hard to get recognized for a lot of these. I'm speaking mainly to the Heisman, whether the Maxwell or Doak Walker, whatever it is. I know those are a little different, but that Heisman, in a lot of East Coast bias to Heisman voting, but I think they're just trying to go all in and say, hey, you have done a fantastic job this year. You have brought this offense some life where at times it looked very stagnant, and we appreciate that, and we're going to do our best to make sure that your efforts get recognized. And the fact that Nebraska has, just with the loss to Minnesota, they haven't been the talk. They handled business against Minnesota and USC. I think the promoting doesn't necessarily need to be as heavy as we've seen it since Saturday night in LA. But I agree with it. I'm happy that they are doing it. Do I think it's still a long shot? Yes, but I think he sure does deserve an invite because what he's done, and if he finishes this year out strong, he 100% deserves an invite. And I don't know if they still do the award show down in Orlando or not, but he deserves an invite down to that one. And yeah, you're number 2 in the nation in total yards. Like that needs to be recognized. And just with Nebraska's where they're on the radar, it just hasn't been publicly noticed as much. But you get Pete Thamel tweeting all that stuff out. It's starting to get noticed now.
Did a great job yesterday, Jay, on Big Red Wrap Up. It was you, Michael, and Sean, and I like the moment that you had in the beginning of the show.
Hey, and also let's give some love, Zach Potter.
Yes, that was also great. That was a great interview with you and Zach, and the relationship you guys have, and talking about him, coming up. And it was actually a great comment because it relates a ton to what's going on in the D line of this team. But I want to talk about a moment you had at the beginning of the show because I think it was funny. It was a little funny to me But I think you were totally right, because you're talking about, hey, they're 7-3, and you made the point. You're like, look, we've been watching this team. There are problems with this team. You can't deny some of the problems that you have at the D line and some of the problems you have at the O line and stuff. But you did a great job of saying, hey guys, like, they've done some really good things as well. Like Emmett Johnson's been great, and the secondary's been great. And we have to remind ourselves that, this team is very well could win 9 games. Is there a part of you though, Jay, that looks at this team and says, man, they have some holes, but they're 7-3. And actually, I'm excited that they're 7-3 and they have a lot of problems, because imagine what could happen if you fix some problems that now with the budget that you have could be fixable.
Yeah, I think having perspective that's the word I was looking for last night. I was struggling to come up with it. And I struggle with that as well. In football, and it's a knack, this is a bad habit of mine, I tend to remember the negative plays better than my positive plays. And I tend to, that as a player, that can tend to motivate you. But I think we do got to remember what this team does really, really well and what they haven't done well in the last 10 years. And yes, we know that they have some offensive line issues. Yes, we know that they're struggling at times to stop the run and mobile quarterbacks. But can we highlight that Emmett Johnson's had a great year? Their center in the center and the 2 guards on either side of Evans with Latovsky and Spindler have done really well this year, and that's why they're able to run the ball so well in between the tackles. Mm-hmm. Can we highlight how great the special teams has been?
Yeah,
and that's been a game changer. Can we, the secondary has been elite. This defense, even though they're not stopping the run, I did not realize this until Michael brought it up, but they not allowed a total yards of over 400 this year on defense. And I know that might seem like a lot, but in today's day and age, this game is tailored around offense, and defense doesn't get a lot of the calls, and everything's situated for points and offensive highlights. But also, situational football has gotten a lot better from this football team. Not penalized as much, taking better care of the football. Turnovers ratios they're finally plus. Knock on wood. We still got a couple more games, but that's been improved. How about that 4-minute drill they had at UCLA? We hadn't seen one like that in a long time, where in years past they go 3 and out, turn and punt the ball, and then that team goes down to scores and they lose in overtime. But they're able to seal that, and that's with a true freshman quarterback in his first start too. So I think there's a lot of positive you can lean on throughout this year, and you get a couple of these things fixed. You get that D line a little older. You get more athletic at the linebacker position. And this defense is, these teams aren't pushing 400. They might be struggling to push to get over 3. But I know they lose a lot of guys in the secondary too, so they got to clean that up next year. But yeah, I think being 7-3 with the ups and downs they've gone through, going through some injuries, I think you got to actually highlight instead of not pick apart what they don't do well. I think you can do that with any team. Mm-hmm. But you got to highlight what they have done well, and that's a tip of the cap to the staff and Coach Rule and the culture he's built so far through, going into year 3. And there's still a lot more ball to play, and they can still finish this thing out really strong.
Did you play the Robert Trent Jones course there in Birmingham?
I did not. I played the Country Club of Birmingham.
Oh, nice. Which one?
Yeah.
East or West?
West, yeah, it's a tournament. It's called the NIT, the National Invitational Tournament, not associated with basketball, but I've been going down for the 4 years. This is my 4th year now, and I go down and we got a bad trend. I haven't played great down there, and every time I've been down there, I think Nebraska's lost on that Saturday as well. So either I need to stop going, or Nebraska how about this? I need to start playing better down there, and Nebraska needs to start playing better down there too.
Hey, that's a Pete Dye course, right?
Correct. Look at you. Nice. What about the East course now?
I don't know as much about the East course, but people say the East is better than the West.
Well, the West is harder because it's Pete Dye, but the East is Donald Ross.
Oh, I mean, geez.
Yeah, so it's an embarrassment of riches they have down with 36 holes, and the membership's fantastic. Everything they have down there, it's top notch. Definitely Southern hospitality to go down there. I'll keep going as long as they have me. I might not, if I keep playing as poorly as I have, I might not get the invite anymore.
I don't know those names, but I played a Hogan course once though, so that was cool. That's all I have to contribute to the combo with my plus, with my minus 27 handicap.
Jay, it was a family friend, Dick Hogan.
No, Ben did it. It was a Ben course.
All right. So you look at the game differently because you played the game. Walk us through how the offense looked with Latif, how much different it looked, and how much of the offense was utilized. Because the narrative is Nebraska they didn't put as much on the plate of Latif. What did you see in the play calling that gave you an indication of how much Latif could handle and how much Dana wanted him to handle?
Yeah, I think it was simplified. I don't think, and I'll be honest, I haven't looked, sat down and watched, all 22 vision of a film of Nebraska's offense with Dylan and just seeing. And I think what teams have done with Dylan and said, hey, we're not going to let you guys get over top of us. We're going to kind of keep things underneath, and we know you can't really beat it with our legs, and we'll kind of rally around that, I think. And so Nebraska, that's just, and I've said it before on here and on Bigger Wrap Up and other people, it's essentially Nebraska has been playing 10 on 11 football just because Dylan's not a true threat to run, and that's fine. I think he brings other things to the table with understanding of the game and the playbook and just the concepts in general. I'm pretty confident TJ's not there yet, but what TJ doesn't have mentally, he has other things physically that I think makes defenses stress out a little more. His ability to keep it, his ability to threat to on the zone reads, inside, outside, whatever you want to call it, and you have to respect the mesh point, that matters. Knowing he can keep it and take off and get you 20, if you don't have correct rush lanes and you get a little undisciplined, that matters. So I love that aspect of it. Just all it takes is anymore for a linebacker, defensive line, defensive end, defensive tackle, just to be a half step slower, or just your peak and you look, your eyes get caught in that backfield just a little too slow, because you got to respect that mesh point, and you got to know, like, if he keeps this, I got to get my butt outside to make this play, or I got to stay. That matters, and I think that helps the offensive line perform a little better as well when it comes to that. But I think this is the simplifying of the game plan. The first play of the game, boom, we get the defensive end, crashes, he keeps it for a first down. But utilizing, having Emmett in the backfield, having those two as be able to go kind of a 1-2 combo, getting him outside the pocket, get some RPOs, but get him rolling to his right, rolling to his left, and you're finding Key, Hunter, Barney, and then utilizing the screen game. I mean, it wasn't anything exotic. I just think they're utilizing his strengths. But I love that. Sometimes you'll hear me say this. I love simplifying things. I think it allows the teams to play faster. You can just what you got, and you allow your guys to go out and play. They don't have to overthink things. So, it definitely was a little different. But I think it was a little different because they know he's just a different quarterback than what Dylan is. And I think I'm excited to see this evolve. But again, I don't think it needs to be overly complicated just because you got one game now and under his belt, full game. It doesn't need to be anything drastically different when you go play Penn State and Iowa either.
So, I think a criticism, and whether it's fair or not, of John Butler has always been too vanilla. Like, he hasn't been as exotic as maybe in some of his calls that he was propped up to be in the beginning of the season. Something I noticed, though, Jay, was, and I thought it was one of his better reps. They sent some sim pressure with Elijah Judy, where they dropped him back, and then I think they sent Shavers down the middle on it, and that might have been the play where Shavers got that tackle for loss. Sim pressure, is that something that you've seen a little bit more that they've used throughout the year? And just as a former defensive player, right, and former D lineman, who I'm sure you've had to drop back, and then have the linebacker come in and you still send him forward. What is your opinion on sim pressure in general?
I mean, I did it a ton. We were a huge zone pressure team when I was at Nebraska. We ran a lot of field, we bring pressure blitzes from the field, and I was always the drop guy. I dropped in the coverage all the time, whether off the number 2 wide receiver or the number 3 guy. So you always count in to out. So the number 1 is always outside. Then maybe number 2 is the tight end. Number 3 be the back. And depending how the formations were situated, I was either dropping off number 2 or number 3 in either a man-to-man situation, or I'd kind of go over, they call it the hot hole, right? Kind of over the middle, just depending on the formations that were into the boundary. So I've done it. I mean, between my junior and senior year, I had to drop into coverage over 200 times easily. Wow. So I like it. They've utilized it a bunch. I know they utilized it a decent amount in the Northwestern game. At times. You saw it in the Michigan State game. It's just another wrinkle. It's just, what I like about it is you get your defensive lineman, whether it's a Judy, a Noweri, a Lenhart, whoever it may be, you get him engaged. You kind of draw pressure with the center, a guard, a tackle. You get their eyes on you, and then all of a sudden you get out of there, and all of a sudden another guy's just crossing their face that they didn't account for in their count. So that wrinkle there, it's great. It allows your guys to play pretty quick and pretty fast, and it's just a different look, and it helps kind of. And I know they didn't do a great job of keeping Nico in the pocket. I mean, not, a lot of people are going to struggle keeping him in the pocket, and he's killed a lot of teams scrambling. But also, it kind of gets your guys in a pseudo spy look when they drop. Now, I don't want my defensive lineman. You don't want your defensive lineman to be spying, but sometimes you can. It helps in just keeping a guy in front of him to make him stay honest and not tuck it and run as quickly. But no, I'm a huge fan of it because I've done it, but it's just a different wrinkle that it just messes up the count of the offensive line and just gives them a different look. Where then when you kind of don't do it or you give them some similar looks, now they're kind of eyes are everywhere. So it just keeps them honest and just keeps them guessing. Which you always want your offensive line just kind of not exactly knowing where people are coming from.
Let's talk about Nebraska's offensive line. Anything you've noticed differently the last couple of weeks where the run blocking has a more physical tone to it?
Yeah, I think that interior has been really good. I think between Pritchett, or excuse me, not Pritchett, but Spindler, Evans, Latovsky, it's been really, really good. That's why I think Emmett's had so much success running the ball inside the tackles. I think you've seen Pritchett just get better as the years has progressed. Then you have Corcoran just playing on the right side. I just think guys, you've seen this is the most kind of consistent line they've had with Teddy going down, but there's more camaraderie. I don't know if you want to use camaraderie or just having five guys at one time play consistently. That matters. The communication and just kind of knowing exactly who's to your left, who's your right. There's a comfort issue that comes with that. So I think that's part of it. But I mean, having Emmett, man, it makes a difference. And again, defense has got to play. I mean, when you're in these defensive meetings and you got elite running backs back there, your defensive line coaches and linebacker coaches and your defensive coordinators are saying, hey, you have to be sound in your gaps. You have to be sound in your techniques. You have to do certain things. And that just that puts you a little more on edge and you respect them a little more. And that sometimes all it takes, like I said, is a half a step and an inch here or there. And that tackle, that guard can get his gap hand in there to seal a guy off and creates. I mean, it doesn't take much for Emmett. We've seen that to do that. But then again, you throw in a mobile quarterback into the mix, and that helps spread things out a little more and creates more gap. But I just think you're seeing this line they've gotten better. Again, I think pass pro is the weakness, and I think that can get fixed technique wise. Just I'm not a pass pro expert, but just I know a lot of guys who've done it for a living, and they said there's some things they could do differently. But no, I just think the cohesiveness along there and just having the same guys play consistently is definitely helped the guys just communicate and get comfortable with each other.
Emmett has had an incredible year, but there definitely is a line in the sand between before the bye week, the first bye week after the Michigan game, and then after that bye week. And I think it was noticeable that in the Michigan State game, Emmett came out with a little bit more pop, a little bit more juice. He was faster. I don't think he was hurt or anything. I haven't, read any report that he was injured or anything like that in the first 4 weeks of the season. So I want to ask you, Jay, have you, in your playing career, have you seen that before where you got a guy hits a bye week, the first bye week, he has an extra week to rest, and then they just come out and they just find something during that downtime?
Not necessarily a thing in the past. I mean, the teams I've been on, we kind of, whether it's at Nebraska or on the NFL level, you kind of had a backs by committee, and this hasn't been the case for Nebraska. My time at Nebraska, when I was there, you had Corey Ross and Marlon Lucky and Brandon Jackson and Cody Glenn. So there's a lot of guys played a ton of snaps. So, but I think with him, and they were trying to figure out what right snap count, how much can Emmett take? Is it Mosey? Is it Mekhi Nelson? Who's going to be? But I think they finally just got to the point and just said, "Hey, Emmett, you're the man. You're the guy, and we're rolling with you. You're going to get a few plays off here and there will spell you because we can't keep you in there the whole game. But this game plan is tailor made around you, and that can give guys a little boost of energy as well. And just knowing and he was obviously the man, but knowing, hey, you're gonna get 30, 25 to 30 plus touches a game, whether on rushing or receiving, and that's boosted his energy. I totally, you've seen it. His burst, his ability to make people miss, and how many times have we seen it where it looks like it should be a 2-yard loss and it's a 2 to 3 yard gain. He has that extra step in his system, and those facilities they got in there too. That new facility, they had a lot of recovery in there with those cold tubs and a lot of the things that they have. So that's a whole nother dynamic to it as well. That just the recovery and nutrition, all those things can play a huge factor too. But yeah, I would agree. He's gotten stronger as the year goes on, and that doesn't happen with a lot of guys, especially with how many touches he has had throughout 10 games.
Great point.
We'll get you out of here on this, and we'll talk about Penn State next Wednesday ahead of the trip out to Pennsylvania. But with Emmett, you played in the league. You know what running backs and how we look at them in the NFL. Are we down to 2 or 3 more games of Emmett Johnson at Nebraska, in your opinion?
Yeah, selfishly, I hope not, but selfishly for him, it's probably a good chance. Running backs, you only got so many years. You only got so many carries. You can only take so many hits. I know NIL could potentially play in a factor, but base salary now for NFL rookie first year is damn near $1 million. Michael brought it up. He's got it kind of slated as maybe the 8th or 9th back that would be taken. So that kind of puts him at the 4th round. Signing bonus at that level is pushing $1 million as well. So I don't know if Nebraska can compete with that, right? Because you're paying other guys, and we just know from the the money ball within football, it's hard to pay running backs a ton of money.
Yes,
even though Emmett does deserve it, but I have a good feeling that we probably got 3 games left, and he's been a pleasure to watch. I mean, I told him he would ask me, I said, man, you gotta strike while the iron's hot, and you can't risk it. And if you want to go, and he's ready to go. So I have unfortunately feel like this is probably the 3 last games that we'll have him here.
That's great. He's a genuine person who's had a monster year, and he's played himself into this opportunity. Jay, appreciate it. We'll chat with you next Wednesday ahead of Nebraska Penn State.
See you, boys.
See you, Jay.
That is Jay Moore, former Black Shirt, Big Red Wrap-Up. If you get a chance to see it every Tuesday night. People are wondering, let's say Emmett comes back and he wants to do his high school tour, but he wants to do it with Dylan and TJ. How will that go over?
I think it'll go over fine.
Okay.
I think it'll be a thruple.
A thruple?
A thruple of tours.
That's your word today. You've used that twice.
The word of the day.
I'm going to Google it.
Well, yeah, it's just it's a couple of 3 people. Whether it be
thruple.
Yes, that's the 3 and upple thruple.
Good for voyeurs.
It could be one.
No, just so you're like a wingman or the extra wheel.
Yeah. Well, no, that's third wheeling. That's like your friend goes out with you because he's lonely and he needs people to hang out.
No, I've gone out with a couple and they, buddy says, hey, do you want to tag along?
Well, yeah, that's third. That's not a thruple though. That's third wheeling. That's a whole other friendly. You're not. You're
lost.
not.
Wow.
No,
Jay's like, thank God I got out while I did.
You're not in a relationship with your buddy's girlfriend.
Oh, so this is like the 3 people in a relationship together.
Yes. That's what a thruple is. They just did a movie about it with Dakota something.
There's lots of movies about
Dakota
it.
Johnson just did something like that. Yeah, it's on Instagram too. You're not on Instagram, so you wouldn't see it. But like when you're watching all your TikToks,
a lot of thruples out there.
I don't have any thruples on my Instagram.
How do you know if somebody's a thruple?
Oh, they'll tell you.
Oh, they'll tell you. So you brag about it.
There's an anklet.
They'll show you. Well, that's like everybody's doing weird. There's a big thing with like people doing weird stuff to get Instagram followers, whether or not it makes them look bad or not. So that is one of them where it's just like there's like a very popular Instagram account that is just like, we're a thruple, and they get a lot of followers and rage bait and hate and people being like,
some people say Nebraska's going to raise a banner to celebrate the crown against Creighton on December 7th. Others say I'm a thruple. However, you got to get your followers. Go get your followers because you know what? The Russians aren't paying much these days to follow you, and then they get. Elon's had it with the Russian bots. There's a lot of scrubbing going on.
I lost so many followers.
All right, Love, Coleman, Smothers, Jordan Haynes. That would be my top 5 running backs right now. Emmett in the top 10, not in the top 5.
love Cole. Yeah, I can get down with that. No Hardy?
He'd be 6th.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would put a Hardy in my top 5.
You could convince me either him or Haynes at 5.
Yeah.
But I think the number one is definite. I mean, Jeremiah Love is going to be the number one running back.
He's going to be a first-round draft pick. He's mocked right now to go 13th overall in the last mock draft that I looked at. So, yeah, Love. Emmett being within that group, man, like I thought Emmett was going to have a good season to put him up with. Now, Lacey, would he be 7 for you? Come on, Lacey. I mean, he's having a really good year.
There's a very fluid between 6 and 10.
It is very fluid.
I mean, it's not a game-changing running back draft, but it's a good deep draft.
Well, the problem is too is that
not a lot of like headliners from big name schools either.
Last year was a historic running back draft in terms of just. I mean, Kyle Monungai is one of the better running backs in the NFC North right now. Over the last couple of weeks, he was taken in the 7th round. Okay, like that's just how it's been. And Ollie Gordon was another guy who was a Heisman Trophy candidate to begin the season. He ends up going in the 5th round. So I mean, you're totally right. It's super fluid. But Emmett being within the Loves and within the Hardys and within the Lacey's and within the some other, I mean, it's impressive, man.
To be also like Katron Allen, who at the beginning of the year we thought high things from Penn State. I mean, Emmett and him aren't very far apart in a lot of these NFL draft running back rooms.
I mean, Emmett Johnson's cleared Nick Singleton in terms of the seasons that they've had. And that was a guy who was supposed to be a dark horse Heisman.
Chase down Price and Hawkins, Emmett. That's the next chance. All right. When we come back, we can't keep Emmett. We're not going to keep Sierra Wright. You're gone. But your top 5 players that may or may not leave, we don't know, but you must keep them.
Okay.
On this upcoming roster. Remember, this is a young roster. This is a roster that does not have very many old guys. Well, they have 19 seniors, 91 underclassmen are currently on the Nebraska roster. But not everybody's staying. Where's Willis McGahee going to do? What's Lenhart going to do?
That's a good one. That's another good one. What's RVP going to do?
What's Carter Nelson going to do?
That's another great one.
Will Nebraska figure out what to do with him? All right, that's coming up next. Top of the hour, John Walker stops by. Thoughts on what happened last night in Spokane as Creighton met a really, really good basketball team. It's probably going to play some high, meaningful games in March in Gonzaga. We'll do that coming up at 9. Brandon Vogel stops by from Counter Read at 9:40 on 1620 The Zone.
I was saying earlier that
No, my mic wasn't on, by the way.
Yeah. I really like I went to that Irish bar over on 78th and Cass, and I've just been thinking about it.
What was her name?
No.
How it goes.
Man, the amount of wood in that bar. Oof.
Oh,
I can't get her off my mind. And it was right next to an Omaha steak shop. I think I'm gonna go next paycheck and go and grab all of that.
Go crazy.
Okay. You have anything to give away this morning? Because I got a good trivia question.
Our backlot or this week's zone deal is Backlot Pizza and Kitchen. It's
I don't think
I don't think we have the.
I don't think we're
permission
giving away anything.
We are not giving away anything, but Unsportsmanlike Conduct is
That's
giving
not this
away a pair of tickets to the Omaha men's basketball game on Saturday.
Okay.
You would think, by the way, that the voice of the Mavericks would be able to give away 2 tickets to his team. Go ahead and playing on a banner.
And I could throw in a replica championship ring from Highland Dairy if we were giving away tickets.
Well, there's a replica ring giveaway for 1,000 fans in the building.
But I will give you a ring. I have possession of some rings.
Are you going to
from
give
Highland Dairy?
Are you going to give me a ring?
Were you on the trip to Sacramento last December?
Okay, were the people you're going to give away the ring to, were they on the trip to Sacramento last December?
We'll find out. Maybe they were there.
You can't act as if I'm not an ardent supporter of that basketball program. And I go ahead.
I can't say
spent
that's true.
$60 last season to watch Omaha men play basketball.
You were McMavster.
And Matt McMavster.
You going to be there Saturday night?
I was supposed to go to Lincoln, but I'm actually debating now going to the game.
You should go to the game.
All right. Well, you go to the game. I'll give you a replica ring.
Cheaper gas.
Well, I mean, you should just be able to give me a replica ring because we're friends and we're co-hosts.
We'll see. We'll take it up with the people. But if here's the trivia question for USC, they may not have the same trivia question, but you should call in. Before Saturday night, do you know who the last starting quarterback not named Dylan Raiola at Nebraska was?
What?
I like that.
But before Saturday night, the last starting quarterback not named Dylan Raiola was okay. So who started the game against Iowa?
Mm-hmm. That should be their trivia question. Mm-hmm. I think this is a good trivia question.
Is it not Heinrich?
Jimmy? I'm not saying you're right or wrong.
Right. I think he started that game.
I was almost positive.
It was cold. I remember that. Very cold.
I feel like the reason, though, he would be asking that question is because it wasn't Heinrich.
I watched that game here with my dog. She's dead now.
Was it a Chuba game?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's a good trivia question. Why are you cuckoo?
It's a clock. It's a clock ticking.
Yeah. Well, it's either Chuba or Heinrich because Jeff Sims' ass wasn't starting that game.
But what if he did?
No way.
God, he did look pretty good in that little bit of stretch there of his possession against Maryland.
I thought you were going to say he looked good when Arizona State retired his jersey from a record-setting game that he had to beat Iowa State.
I'm happy for him. I'm happy for people that achieve success. Mm-hmm. I mean, he wasn't a cancer in the locker room or anything. He wasn't very good.
He gets to live in Tempe now.
He delivered Nebraska their starting quarterback for the previous 22 games before Saturday night.
You think he's got a burrito deal in Tempe now?
I don't know. I hope he's having a good time in Tempe.
I bet
people have a good time in Tempe there on Mill Avenue.
He's having I'm going to say
Arizona State football isn't having a good year, but
it's going off the top of my head. I'm going to say Jeff Sims having a pretty great time in Tempe.
Okay.
Warm. Chuba.
What?
Yeah, we already give the answer.
Oh, okay. See, I missed that.
I thought it was going to be a weird answer where it was going to be like Emmett because the first snap of the game was in Wildcat, and technically he started the game as quarterback.
He did not. Let me look at the box score real quick.
13-10.
Yeah, it was a 13-10 game.
Shootout.
And Caleb Johnson ran right down the middle of the field to put the Iowa Hawkeyes in field goal position. And then, of course, it sounded like that field goal could have gone just right down the middle.
Well, you also remember there was a late pick.
Mm-hmm.
The late pick that led to a short field, and then the made-up place kicker named Marshall Meter hits up, a 40-yarder?
Mm-hmm.
I remember that game so vividly because my dad got really, really mad watching that football game.
Because you made him watch that?
And he yelled at me. He goes, "Why am I so upset? I already have the Bears. I don't need this in my life. God dang it." And he went to the kitchen.
Remember, Nebraska entered November 2 years ago with 5 wins, and they finished with 4 straight losses. And they also finished that game where Jalen Lloyd, remember the 66-yard touchdown pass?
I do.
People were very excited at that point. It was now 10-7 at halftime.
I also remember the Jalen Lloyd when he got wide open against Iowa last year in the first quarter, and then Dillon just sailed it right over his head.
Emmett
and then
in,
the Nair drop.
Emmett in that game, 11 carries, 27 yards.
Jeez. He's gotten
2
better.
years ago.
Yeah, great take, Jimmy.
Yep, that's what I'm here for.
So maybe that's your trivia question. If USC is giving away tickets, once they say, "Hey, first correct call," just call in and give them that answer.
It would be on brand for them to use a college football trivia question about Nebraska to give away Omaha Maverick basketball tickets.
Is that shade?
No, I'm just saying that's they talk a ton about college football.
They love ball.
During this. They love their ball.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Top 5 keepers for 2026. If you are spending money, everybody is a free agent. Remember, there's only 19 seniors on Nebraska's roster. They have 91 underclassmen. Got to make some decisions. There's some guys. It's time to go. It might be a place for a fresh start. Where is Willis McGahee?
Well, he's redshirting.
Okay.
He is redshirting. I decided to redshirt him earlier in the year. I don't know if we're going to have the same 5.
Did anybody talk about him, even though he's redshirting?
No, they haven't.
Okay.
But it's not as if when they talk about their players, that's a good thing. I mean, the guys that they've talked about the most in the offseason, most of them haven't played or haven't really contributed the way that you wanted them to. All right, my number 5 guy, Keona Davis.
Okay.
He's been playing really good football. Defensive line, you need to make sure that you keep your big D linemen. You obviously don't have a ton of benchmark guys on the D line this season. So Keona, number 5 for me. Number 4, Isaiah Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
I just think he's not only just is he explosive and has had a good season, he still has a ton of potential to get better. 3, Andrew Marshall. Sierra's not coming back. Andrew, I was looking at a CBS stat. He has the 3rd highest drop rate amongst corners, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of like people catching balls on him, he's got the 3rd lowest, 42%. Vincent Shavers is my number 2 guy. I think this might be a little high for me. I just love his explosiveness. Like that, the reason why he's so high is like I look at Keona Davis and Isaiah Hunter. I'm like, all right, these are good players that can become really, really good players.
Mm-hmm.
I think just Vincent Shavers, unlike a lot of the guys in this Nebraska football team, has game-breaking ability. He can become an All-American. He just has that explosiveness. And then I did a cop-out. I have TJ Lateef / Dylan Raiola as my number 1. Okay? Your number 1 priority this offseason shouldn't just be keeping one of them. It should be keeping both of them. If you can keep both of them and you can have this timeline of whether it be Dylan starts next year, TJ learns under him, then TJ gets the starting job, then if you can have that process and have that path, and I think it would be massive for this program if you could keep both of them. Yes, I am not going to go ahead and pick one or the other right now.
No, everybody keep an open mind.
Yep.
Let the season finish out. You got 2 games, and I think the decision then will be in full focus for January 2nd. Doesn't mean that one guy would leave. Just open mind.
Yeah.
Let the season play out. Let's have 2 games, and then let's all figure out which quarterback allows the middle of the field to be more open than the other. Okay. Here's my 5. So I think Rule in this offseason, he doesn't have an oil man. Okay.
Yeah.
He doesn't have an oil man. There is nobody with that pump jack down by the Kansas border that's like, Coach, we're going to strike oil one of these days. I'll get you some money.
They were working, though.
Hey, Coach, that pump jack, I'm able to spend $10 a month for $18.90. Go get yourself a defensive lineman. So I think that Rule would like to kind of follow the model of Texas Tech. Doesn't have the cash.
Mm-hmm.
But what has something that Texas Tech and Indiana have done with their expanded resources? What have they done with those?
Invest on the D line.
The trenches.
Yes.
So
in particular, the edges.
If you have a lot of money, you think, man, go out and buy yourself a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, go get yourself a skill guy. Go get yourself a playmaker.
Sure. You
know what that man in Texas says? Hey, Coach McGuire, go get us a quarterback. Coach McGuire says, I'm a football guy. I'm going to build in the trenches. So smart football guys, old football guys, Signetti and McGuire say, let's build in the trenches. So that's how I went about this little exercise. So I'm going to go from the back. Nwaneri and Petchak.
Whoa, I like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Then Latif.
Okay.
Then this is a combo. Hunter and Barney.
Okay.
And then the number one guy I would spend to keep.
Can I guess?
You can guess.
Is it Keona?
It is Keona Davis.
I love that.
So of those guys, more than half of them are trench guys. Now, none of them are offensive line guys.
Sure.
I
think you got to.
Love Justin Evans. I don't think he's going to go anywhere, so I didn't put him on this list. But that would be my top 5 plus 1. But Keona Davis, the Nebraska in the trenches. You know, what have we talked about? Nebraska in the offseason got to be searching for a big boy on the defensive line and a big boy on the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
And then you hope that you have guys on campus that you've developed. But I think Nebraska can do a lot if they do a lot in the trenches, because they'll be able to attract skill guys with their Pied Pipers that are already on campus.
What I like about that is that what you're doing on your list, Gary, is you're prioritizing positions that are going to be at too high of a premium to purchase, right? It is probably more financially responsible to invest more in the current D-line that you have, as opposed to go ahead and splurging money on to get a whole new D-line when maybe you could take, and that's what is going to be the key, right? I think when it comes to, and this isn't just college football, this is the NFL as well. Yeah, it's important to be good at evaluating talent that you're acquiring. Self-scouting, though, I think is way more important than evaluating the talent that you're acquiring, because it'll allow you to understand, hey, this is where we can spend money. This is where we can't spend money. We'll save money here. We'll spend money there. If you do a bad job at self-scouting, right, you're not going to have a whole team. I almost put Nwaneri on my list. I like your Petchak pick a lot. It's not a guy that came to my head immediately, but I think he kind of falls in the Shaver camp of, is he necessarily your top performing dude? No, but the potential that he has.
Remember, he's a true freshman.
I know.
So he got here a little bit late, and people really did. Internally, they talked about him.
Sure.
And maybe a guy like Tyson Terry and Malcolm Simpson, if they're healthy, they probably are getting the first cracks. And remember, Nebraska has Malcolm Simpson, who was a big recruiting victory, and he hasn't been able to go due to an injury almost simultaneously when he got on campus, or not when he got on campus, but before they ramped up getting ready for the start of the season. So he hasn't even been a consideration. They got those two guys. I mean, I saw Tyson Terry recently. Yeah. Tyson Terry looks pretty good, and they're going to work his butt off to try and find his way onto the field. But the West Fargo man, they may have found a gem. But those are the kind of gems. If you're going to go get a big old farm boy, and I know West Fargo doesn't have a lot of farms, it's more of outside of Fargo, but anybody from North Dakota is going to be a big old farm boy. I mean, you get him here, and you feed him some good beef, okay, and you feed him some good corn,
just like
and
you
build him up, and then you go, damn, you ever met Jared Tomich? Hell, you ever met Ty Robinson or Nash Hupmacher? By the way, congratulations, now engaged. By the way, also the Kalkbrenners.
Oh, yeah,
Kalkbrenners. We addition to the Kalkbrenner family yesterday. But he's a guy that I think he's a great spot here. He's not 1 foot out the door like PJ Fleck is, like not calling him all the time, going, hey, you know what? Minneapolis is closer. Minneapolis is closer to Fargo. You know what? It's only one interstate. You can go sideways. You don't have to go south. But he's a guy that you get, and then you go, ooh, let's don't ruin him.
Yeah.
Let's put good weight on him, and then let's develop him along the lines of, what you want to do with an interior defensive line, because he looks like a Big Ten interior defensive line.
His get off has been great at times this season. I mean, he's had some big plays. Real quick, I know we got to get to a break. I like your Barney pick just because Matt Rule always talked about, even before they were in the full NIL era, how important it is to pay your guys and have the highest paid player be a guy that you have grown. And so I think Ja'Cory getting that money is important for the culture. Latif over Dylan, is that just because he should be here for 2 years, and Dylan, in theory, even if he comes back, would probably only be here for one more?
And Dylan would be in the top 10.
Yeah.
But Latif's probably not being paid a lot of money right now.
So you got to make sure that you take.
No.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And maybe you take care of both of them. But 2 games, and we'll know everything we need to know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
All right. We'll come back. We've got a couple thoughts. We'll run through some emails and some tweets. We got Creighton and Nebraska basketball emails and some tweets and some comments on the chat. We got John Walker coming up at the top of the hour. Creighton off their loss late last night in Spokane. Now ahead for Maryland Eastern Shore. That's a throuple. Nebraska, Creighton, and Maryland Eastern Shore.
Thruple.
Could I go into Jamba Juice today and say I'd like a throuple?
No, a throuple sounds like you don't know how to pronounce your T's. And you're
sounds
talking
like
about
throuple. Throuple is like a term that a meteorologist is going to use this winter.
A throppler? If you said, hey, our throppler's up in the air telling us what the weather's going to be like, I would be like, oh, okay, cool, new technology.
All right, we're back with more of this throuple on 1620 The Zone. Nebraska Creighton actually played tonight. Women's basketball down at PBA, 8 o'clock, IFS1. Well, the Creighton call. I believe Glenn will be on the call over on Glenn Sisk, over on News Talk 1290 Coil. Amy Williams, kind of a must-win tonight. Creighton's won 3 in a row. Nebraska's 2-0. Creighton is 1-1. Should be entertaining. But this is Nebraska's at home. You got Happer on the mic. It's going to be a little bit disjointed. He's gonna be like, "There's my Britt Prince for 2,
6-7."
No. By the way, how come no one did it yesterday when they announced officially that Hudson Greer was redshirting? Nebraska will not have 6-7 Hudson Greer. Also, people got excited last night when Nebraska got to 67.
I know. I heard that. Were you cheering? Hey, were you going? Were you?
No, I knew because you could feel it in the crowd. People are anticipating. I did not do that.
Was the kid that you were with? Did he start 6-7?
Whoa.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we left him in Lincoln.
Scottie Pippen was
You
6-7.
didn't leave him in Lincoln.
He might be in section 200. But
not a bad place to
Britt
be.
Prince is off to a great start. So you get it. There's Prince and Petrie, Lockett and Townsend. Should be a good game tonight. 8 o'clock tip-off. Late night down at PBA. I hope Happer got a nap in. A couple of emails here before we get to John Walker. We'll read a Nebraska football one, then we'll finish with a good one from Michael about Creighton basketball.
Okay.
Gary writes in, and this is you follow the draft.
Yeah.
Draft guys in the Equitable Bank inbox. Again, this is from Gary. Great first name. He went to the head of the line. He's a junior, by the way. Who are the guys getting a shot? I feel like you have to put Rocco as probably the first Husker off the board.
No.
Maybe 4th round, possibly plays his way into a 3rd round pick if Emmett improves his draft stock as well as a 9-win regular season. What about Sierre? It doesn't feel like a deep class coming from the Nebraska ranks.
Sierre, Emmett, and Rocco might be. I would have to, honestly, in all honesty, I would have to see where Rocco falls amongst draft people because I just think guards in general are really hard to evaluate. Right, you need offensive linemen, but they're not a premium position. So I think Rocco's good enough to be a 6th, 7th round guy. But there could be initial mock drafts that go, no, we actually like what he looks like. He's a 4th, 5th round guy. But I think those are your 3: Emmett, Sierre, Rocco for sure. And if Andrew Marshall decides to go in the draft, he would be there too.
Michael writes in about the Creighton game last night. Good morning. Can we admit what we saw last night was a Creighton team with a lot of role-type players, but do they have that dude that can go to consistently or get a stop bucket? They're missing Ryan, Trey, Doug, Arthur, even type of those players in the past. Yes. They're missing size and physicality as well. They got bullied last night, had 0 answers. Freeman getting winded 2 minutes in the second half, no excuses. He was gassed. They took him out early. He's got to get back into basketball shape. I did not expect them to win at Gonzaga, but I thought this could be a lot closer game than it was. This team lacks an identity for the first time in a long time.
Blake Harper. I'm all in. I think if you're talking about a guy where it's like, hey, he's going to go and win you the game at the end of it, I would say number 2. But it's got to develop. It's got to happen.
And it's you haven't seen a Creighton team that looks outmatched as bad as they did last night. Still early, but they got to figure something out on defense, and then they do have to find when it's end of the shot clock who's going to get it consistently. But I don't think Dix will be a 2 for 11 on a big night game. If he is, then that's not very good money that you spent. But we'll see. Gonzaga's really good. We'll see how Creighton responds. They move through and they go to the Players era, and the competition is not Maryland Eastern Shore. Michael, thank you for the email. Gary, thank you for the email. We'll ask these questions to John Walker. He'll stop by next on 1620 The Zone. All right, however you're feeling today, before we get to John Walker, who's going to bring the energy, despite the Creighton basketball game ending only a little bit ago. This is a big day here in Omaha. A big, big day. I've had multiple confirmations. Maybe there is still some lane restrictions on L, but
Careful.
all lanes, 80 westbound. L Street, Highway 50, open. Open. All right, we're back to normal. We are so back in Omaha. What will be the next major construction project on the interstates here that will cause consternation? But it's a baby step.
For one day.
Yeah. There looks like there might be a couple of lane restrictions on the ramp there on L Street.
We'll take it.
Yeah. All right. On that note, let's transition with John Walker from the Omaha World Herald. Good morning. I'm glad we could be your wake-up call.
Good morning, guys. I'm actually pouring myself a cup of coffee right now.
What kind of coffee do you prefer?
Man, I am not a coffee snob. I won't
Straight
even
black,
pretend
baby.
I am. So yeah, no, I usually just get like the can of Folgers and then
Okay, Farley. Jeez.
literally just like, pick a creamer. Right now I have I have white chocolate mocha.
All right. I bet it smells great.
Yeah. It smells good. It's the best part of waking up with Folgers in your cup. So
John Walker's got an endorsement deal on his show. The segment is brought to you by Folgers. Okay. So last night, that Gonzaga team is one of the better Gonzaga teams we've seen in the last couple of years. It might be their best team since Chet was there. That defense, they play really well. They've played Oklahoma and Creighton back-to-back, and they've allowed those two teams to only have 13 assists. The ball stuck a little bit, got a little sideways. What was surprising to you, either good or bad, last night as you watched that game unfold in Spokane?
yeah, I really was like I knew Gonzaga was a wagon, but the defense was unreal to watch. And we thought it could be an issue because they have positional length, and Gonzaga, much like Auburn did in March, much like Tennessee did in 2023, or in 2024, I guess.
23, 24.
They can bring quality depth off of the bench. So you mix like the length and physicality combined with the freshness, and it's a recipe for disaster for opposing offenses. And you saw that against Oklahoma, and last night Creighton fans got an up close and personal look at it as well. I think over the first three games, Gonzaga has allowed 20 assists and forced 63 turnovers. So, like, you're going to win a lot of ball games doing that. And not to mention, guys, offensively, they're pretty darn good too. So, yeah, no, it was. We'll find out in a couple of weeks when Creighton goes to the Players Era Festival if last night said more about Creighton or Gonzaga. But in a vacuum, man, did the Zags open up a can. They might have opened up the whole darn case.
Yeah.
John, I was shocked yesterday when I looked at the split box score that Gonzaga only out-rebounded Creighton by 8, because it seemed like it was a lot more, and it was a struggle at the rim on both sides of the floor. What is and this is a tough question to ask you, but like, what is the solution in terms of being more physical around the rim at both ends of the floor? Is it just they have to work more as a team, or is just this is gonna kind of have to be something they battle through the entirety of the year?
Yeah, it's a little twofold. Like, one, let's start here. I don't think Creighton's gonna out-rebound many teams this year. Like maybe in the Big East, sure. But I don't think that's the identity of this team. And And then part of it, Matt, is that, and Greg McDermott's talked about this at length as much as you can through the first 8 days of the season. But these players, with so many new players, they are too busy thinking to just play, which we expected. And so when you're doing that, that's going to affect you. And then we circle back to the pre-Gonzaga availability that Creighton had on Monday, days after Greg McDermott kind of questioned his team's toughness and physicality against South Dakota. And Jason Green says toughness is going to be a choice for this group.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So he said, we all have it, but we're going to have to dig deep enough to find it. And is a 27-point road loss enough to force the Jays into digging that out? That's kind of what I think we'll see over the next few weeks.
Jason Green needs to play more. But something you just said, I immediately thought of Josh Dix last night. So first half, he has that beautiful jab step, hits the J. Finished 2 of 11. But it seemed like he was thinking way too much. Instead of letting the game just come to him, he was trying to fast forward the game. Did that appear to you with him? Because it wasn't his night, and they needed in that kind of a game for him to have a 40-minute night.
Yeah, they really did. And the tricky thing is that Greg McDermott said, the nights of guys playing, or the days of guys playing 37 minutes are probably over. So, in some ways, and not just last night, because obviously you're going to sub a lot in that second half. But it's also one thing to consider that, last year, Creighton knew that it had 3 key starters, and in the offseason, it just had to go get 2 transfers. He had to go get an off-ball guard and a wing player. They went and got Pop Isaacs and Jemiah Neal, right? Mm-hmm. And they knew that those were the starting 5 going into the season. So it was really easy to leave that group out there and develop some continuity, some connectivity. When you're playing as deep as Creighton is, or as Greg McDermott wants to, and all of those guys are either new to the program or new to their role in the program, that's when things become disjointed. So I thought part of that showed last night. Like offensively, the Jays just missed each other far too often. But yeah, to circle back around to your original question, absolutely. It looked like Josh Dix was trying to make something happen, trying to assert himself as a scorer, which Creighton needs him to do. But Gonzaga's defense was smothering, suffocating, stymieing, stifling, you name it. And it was a perfect adjective to describe Gonzaga's defensive performance, particularly in the second half. I wrote it in my game story. You just can't have it. 12 points apiece from Blake Harper and Nick Graves is fine, is good, but on a night where Owen Freeman, goes 2 for, I can't even remember. Played seldom. Jackson McAndrew was 2 for 8. Yeah. Josh Dix was 1 for 9. You just can't have that. Those aren't the players that they want to be, and those are the players that Creighton can't have them be if this team wants to reach its ceiling.
The struggles around the rim, I think, are to be expected, right? Especially when you lose who you lost from last season of this season. But is there anything concerning to you or surprising to you that Gonzaga was able to shut down the fast break and Creighton's ability to push the pace in that game? Because I think that's something that you don't really expect to happen a lot with this Blue Jay team.
No, I didn't. In the shocking thing, I guess here we go. The shocking thing, guys, is that you saw Creighton try to take Gonzaga out of its break early by kind of abandoning the glass and just getting back. Gonzaga was not doing that. Like, Gonzaga was rebounding and getting out in the break.
Yeah.
Now, in the second half, that was because of a lot of turnovers. Like, the Jays finished with 18 turnovers. 12 of them came after the break. 8 of those were in that 7-minute stretch where Gonzaga's lead went from 10 to 32. So, that's part of it. Naturally, turnovers are going to give you a better transition opportunity than a rebound. So yeah, that was part of it in the second half for sure. But yeah, I don't know. I truthfully haven't rewatched it, which I'm going to here soon. And I'll have to watch that one for sure.
Okay. We could sit here and we could talk about defense, because that's going to be a story until it's not.
Sure.
And that was a story beforehand. But as we kind of, I know it's 2 games in, but you're starting to see, like, okay, this guy will be in the rotation. He's going to be a key guy in the rotation. I mentioned earlier, I think Jason Green needs more minutes. He only played 17. They brought him in early. He immediately got to the free throw line. I thought at least he was somebody that gave Creighton a chance. But the minutes, as I look at the box score, the one number that I thought would be much higher is Fedor. Only played 7 minutes last night. Any reason why?
No, I'm not sure. I touted all off season that I thought if Fedor returned, that he would be, one of the best bench players in the Big East, maybe Big East 6th man of the year. Well, you're not doing that with 7 minutes a game, but I also know that, especially in a game like that, when Gonzaga, because they only play Ike and Braden Huff on the floor for like 15 minutes a game.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of the time they have one of those guys on the floor with 4 guards. So you would think that matchup would lend itself to somebody like Fedor Zugic. And it just didn't, for whatever reason. And I thought that was odd too. I'd be really curious. Would you say he played 7?
Yeah.
I'd be really curious to know, like, when those 7 were. I can't quite remember. Because was 7 in the first half of that game are drastically different than 7 minutes in the second half of that game.
Yeah.
So that's somewhat important. But even then, it's tough, man. It's tough.
If choose your fighter here, John Walker. Just 10 seconds left in the shot clock. Creighton needs a bucket. Who are you giving the ball to?
Blake Harper.
Man, he's fun to watch.
I'm not sure about. Okay, they are way different players in terms of where they currently are in their careers and were when they got to Creighton initially. But Greg McDermott talked about it a lot this offseason, that Blake Harper has a little bit of Baylor Shireman in this game. And you put the ball in Baylor's hands in those situations, i.e. Oregon in the NCAA tournament, because of his versatility. He can get to the rim. He can shoot. He can create his own shot. He can create for others. And similarly, that's why Trey Alexander got the ball at the end of every game 2 seasons ago, for that same reason. And so I'd probably go Blake Harper. My close second would be Jackson McAndrew for that same versatility we've seen in flashes so far through the first 2 games of the year.
We'll get chatter on this. So part of the news yesterday, was a newsy day for you. I think if there was not a past history of this happening and turning out well, you would go, highest rated recruit, you're going to redshirt him? Are you crazy? In today's world, that kid's he's going to use your weight room, and he's going to eat your food, and he's going to use your school. and he's going to get some nice gear. And next year he's going to be somewhere else. Why is the Hudson Greer situation, you think, different? That highly rated recruit, redshirt, and you say not immediately, oh, he's out the door, that he'll be here next year when more minutes will open up?
Yeah, no, for sure. And, it was, I posted a video on social media earlier this week that it really was a sticky situation. And that was before we knew the situation or the decision. Hudson was obviously committed in, I don't know, last September and then signed during the early signing period. So, nobody knew at that time what Creighton's roster outlook was going to be. Sure. Well, then Fedor, his eligibility was in flux this summer. So, in a second wave of the transfer portal, Greg McDermott and his staff go get Blake Harper, intending on needing another swingman. And then Fedor's cleared. So it threw a wrench in everything immediately. And now we're obviously at the point where yesterday they announced Hudson Greer will redshirt. And no, you're exactly right, Gary, in the fact that in most other programs, this is like, hit the alarm, what's going on. But I do think that Creighton's track record with development, with redshirting, really helped in the situation. It does help in the situation, but it's still tough to redshirt the highest rated recruit you've ever brought in, right? And so we'll see how, if it affects recruiting moving forward. But yeah, they mentioned it in the press release that they put out that it's a decision for the future, really. Minutes will open up next year, as you said, and it sounds like the agreement they came upon or settled on was Hudson staying and going through the development with a full year in Jeremy Anderson's strength and conditioning program, and then as a redshirt freshman a year from now, having a sizable role on this team. So that's what's up with the Jays' highest rated recruit. I'll have some news momentarily on two of the newest recruits.
Okay, yeah, it is signing day today. It's a good day, but I was mentioned earlier, Black, Blue, and Red Nebraska are all going to have a good day with signing day, and it's high school kids. How about that? Some junior college kids, but high school kids. We're back. We're back.
No G Leaguers.
Yeah, it's we get no G League, and we get all these COVID seniors out of here, and look what happens, man. They start recruiting high schools again.
Yeah. Hey, appreciate it. Good coverage. I look forward to reading about the two of us new Jays in this recruiting class.
Thanks, guys.
That's John Walker of the Omaha World Herald. All right, so we got an update on Fedor.
Oh, okay.
So I asked you earlier. So he goes in and he gets the layup, and he doesn't make the layup, but he falls on the floor right next to the basket standard.
Got hit hard.
And he was down for a little bit. He got up. He had 2 free throws. He went 1 for 2. Came out of the game. He was in a little concussion protocol.
Okay.
So that's why the limited minutes. The one thing about the Greer situation, and Mac has done this before, so there is a track record of convincing a family that this is the right move for you to get bigger, stronger, faster, to watch the game, and then there's going to be more minutes to have instead of just picking up some minutes here and there, and kind of waiting to see, and he looks good. I mean, he matches his recruiting ranking. There's the 5 for 5 that is out there where there's no redshirt and you have 5 years to play 5. But the one thing that I would love to see, but basketball coaches, like mid-major coaches, are against this. In football, we can play 4 games and you can still redshirt.
Yes.
In basketball, if you do the math, the percentage of games in football to how many you can play without playing a full season, still redshirt, playing the 4 of the 12. If you do the math for basketball, it's about 7 or 8 games.
Okay.
But there's a lot of mid-major coaches that, why do I want a kid to ball out for 7, 8 games and say, Coach, I'm good, I'm going to redshirt, and then they're gone next year?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
But we'll see. I would have loved to watch him play this year, but the 6-7 will have to sit on the bench. So Creighton's back home Friday night, Maryland Eastern Shore.
I think that's a very,
because Fred will share their scout with Mac.
No way. No. I think it was.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? Why would he share
He's-
his scout? Scout him yourself. We play you in a couple weeks. There's a rivalry.
Telling you, it might surprise people. There's a good relationship between all
Well,
three.
I'm sure there's a good
Sharing is caring.
I'm sure there's a good relationship between all three, but it's still our rivalries, right? I'm not telling Fred to flip the bird to Mac and tell, Crutch could go and shove it, but you don't need to, doesn't need to share his scouting report.
Sharing is caring. Happens a lot.
You want to give me that Ken Palm password then?
No, I can't.
I thought Sharon's caring.
Yeah, but you're not a basketball coach.
That's what, and you are? You're not a basketball coach either.
I've seen a lot of basketball. Seen a lot of bad basketball.
I've seen a lot of basketball too. I'm trying to get my ball knower card. I'm trying. I haven't applied yet. I haven't given you your cooking with peanut oil statement of the day.
Yeah.
So when we get that, maybe I'll apply.
All right. Cool moment also last night in college basketball. Duke went to Army to play on Veterans Day. That was a really, really neat deal that John Shire did. Mike Krzyzewski, of course, the connection there. But the Big East, tough start. ACC is starting to win those key non-conference games they didn't win last year.
Well, even the
Basketball conference over football.
Wake versus Michigan. How about Wake Forest?
Stretched the Wolverines.
I mean, is college basketball like college football where we reward people insanely for close losses? Is that what we're doing? Are we giving her? Is Wake's Ken Palm skyrocketing because they were so close to beating a team?
Let me look.
Go ahead.
All right. Brandon Vogel still to come before we're out of here at 10 on 1620 The Zone. It happened at the end of our show yesterday. One of the good guys in the high school athletics, Brandon Kuhl, retired from Kearney as a football coach. 25 years, 24 playoff wins. The 16 straight years they've been in the postseason. He got to the final. What was it? Great team that just pulled all kinds of upsets here in Omaha. 17. Won a title about almost 20 years ago. But really, really good the times he's come on the show. And he announced his retirement yesterday. So unfortunately, the high school football world has one less really, really good coaches and one really, really good dudes. All right, Brandon Vogel is going to join us here in a little bit to join the conversation. Dying for a hot take on Nebraska basketball at 3-0?
Yes, I am dying. What would a hot take be on a team after playing FIU?
I don't know. You were looking at me like you had Nebraska basketball on the brain.
I have no hot takes on Nebraska basketball until they play Oklahoma. Then I will give you. I have observations. I have observations after watching teams like Alabama, St. John's, Arizona, and Florida in terms of where the mountain Nebraska might have to climb to be amongst elite teams. But I don't have takes. Look, this isn't December Matt McMaster, all right? This is now a more seasoned, all right? A veteran, no
longer a rookie.
No longer a rookie, all right? What did they say? He's no longer a freshman anymore. This is now a Matt McMaster that has 11 months of tutelage under, 40 combined years, 50 combined years of broadcast.
They just called us dinosaurs.
50.
Wow. I mean, I don't know. I think it's closer to 40.
Go get your prostate check, guys.
You guys, this is me. I'm not going to make sweeping remarks and sweeping, opinions and judgments on 3 games against tomato cans. I'll reserve that.
Our boy is grown.
I'll reserve those big opinions.
Yeah,
for when
you're
they
right.
play
You
one
have
P5 game.
you are a little bit more patient. They're good.
I know.
Just remember, everybody, keep an open mind. 2 games. We'll talk on the Saturday morning after the Black Friday game.
He goes, Baymon goes, Matt would be in a better spot if you had redshirted him a year. I'm like the Hudson Greer of 6-20 the zone.
Yeah.
Will he play? Won't he play?
Probably have to consult with your family to see if we can get you some development. And would you develop sitting out a year? You just sit in the corner and watch the show.
Just shadow for a year.
Yes, just shadow for a year
in
and
a
then
chair
in the broadcasting school, and then all of a sudden maybe if a guy gets sick, like a co-host gets sick, we burn the red shirt, and you have to slide from the corner to sit in the chair.
Can you imagine if I had to sit in a corner chair for 12 hours a day to watch all 3 shows?
There are people that do that.
My dad would be like,
"Are there?"
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Tell people get a life. I'd tell people get a life if they were sitting in the corner watching this show for 4 hours.
I think my dad told me if I told my dad I'm getting paid for it, he'd probably be like, "Good, get the hell out of here. Sick and tired of you taking my whiskey and my kung pao chicken."
I have no idea what goes on in your house.
You could hook them up
you
with some
will
whiskey.
have an idea in September.
Come
on.
Can't wait. It's gonna be awesome.
It seems like you can wait.
It's gonna be awesome. Whoa. I don't know why we're not there now.
We should go.
I
haven't been back in forever.
You said something I'm vibing with. You said the Northwestern might keep it close at Wrigley against Michigan.
I do.
Sharon Moore doesn't blow teams out.
I want to go.
12.5 is the spread. I'm
warm.
kind of vibing with you there.
I think I would not be shocked if they won that game. I think
our Cats beating Michigan.
I'm telling you, that team.
Tony Petiti would hate you.
They're playing. They played hard football all year. It took the Penn State victory for them to really believe that what they had against Oregon, because I don't think they played terribly against Oregon. I think that it took the Penn State win for them to believe, hey, we could play at a high level of ball, and then they go ahead, did a great job beating Purdue, handled business. They handled a weird UCLA team at the time at home, and then they played Nebraska incredibly tough. And also too, look, USC, I understand USC ended up winning that game by 21 points, but that was a game that they were very close in as well. So if they had a competent quarterback, they already would be bowl eligible. But I don't think against Michigan they have to worry too much about that. I think they can pound the football. They can pound the rock. They got good running backs.
2 things I did yesterday. One, watching the college football playoff rankings. Indiana. Ooh, love some Indiana. We also, Big Ten. Big Ten.
What about?
People talk about the Big Ten.
I don't
just say Big Ten. Big Ten. That and then I went and looked at some bracketology for college volleyball.
Okay.
Because there's 3 weeks left.
How did we transition from the CFP?
Because you're going to see where I'm going here.
Volleyball bracket.
You're going to see where I'm going
all
here.
Right.
So there's an 82% chance on the gambling markets that Nebraska will finish the regular season unbeaten.
That's wild.
People say the Big Ten is down. Well, that's true. Because Purdue is the next best team in terms of like the RPI. But I was looking at some bracketology, and thinking, what is the trip to La La Land going to look like? Play UCLA on Friday, USC before maybe 10,000 people dressed in red. Crazy. Some of it will look like USC red, but most will be Nebraska red. They're going to have 10,000, going to be a record crowd. USC trying to grow their program. It's their big moment. So maybe Nebraska drops a set. If not, hello. But it's going to be, Nebraska's putting money into the coffers of UCLA and USC this weekend when they take their volleyball team out there. Looked at the bracketology. So Nebraska, number 1 seed, no surprise.
Okay.
But how about this? So in the latest bracketology for college volleyball, we love stories, right?
We do.
It could possibly be, if they go chalk on Nebraska's region, Texas A&M and Louisville come to Lincoln.
Yeah.
Texas A&M a 2 seed, Louisville a 3 seed. They have Creighton as a 3 seed in the Pittsburgh regional.
Okay.
So eat Pitt.
I was putting.
You'll hear that a lot on game day, you think?
Yes.
Yeah. Touchdown Jesus is going to have to cover his ears. Now, here's the thing with I was putting the L up. I love this like pseudo weird rivalry with Texas A&M. That is like over the last couple of years because of just Trev going as the AD, but then you have like every other Nebraska sport in the playoffs just happens to be matched up with them. I just think it's so funny that these things are just randomly happening.
It would be awkward. It would be awkward for DBK if it was Louisville to go to the Final Four. It would be angry if it was Texas A&M. Not necessarily her, but the building would be very, very juiced. But here's my point, and we'll get to Brandon here in just a second. When will and I tweeted this out over the weekend after Nebraska beat Minnesota. Dominance is never boring.
Oh yeah.
When will Nebraska volleyball and Ohio State football get their just due for what the hell they're doing? Because it feels like people are trying to knock Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing the schedule in front of them, and they're just dominating everybody.
I know.
Nebraska volleyball is doing the same thing. Yes, the Big Ten is down, okay? But Nebraska is crushing souls. I would just like to know when both of those programs that are at the height of their sport right now will get their just due. That's all I'm asking.
Don't you think sometimes, though, that because the teams at the top of the conference are so good that we then say, oh, the Big Ten is down? Like the fact that...
I mean, it's the other way around. If the teams at the top are good...
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That
we think it's great.
Well, no. What I'm saying is this: like, because Ohio State is just so dominant against Illinois and so dominant against Minnesota and so dominant against those other teams, we immediately think, oh, those teams aren't very good, right? And so the Big Ten is having a down year, when it actually could just be those teams might be the same in terms of the level of play that they've been. It's just Ohio State's having an incredible year, Where do you follow what I'm saying here? So it's like, okay. So Illinois could have the same team that like they had from the year before that won 9 games, right?
Yeah.
But because Ohio State is so great and they're even a level above, right? And they go ahead and they crush them. We think, oh, Illinois isn't as good. They're having a down year. When it's in fact, maybe they're just the same, but it's just Ohio State has gotten so much better is what I'm trying to say.
I'm just people that dominate. I don't think there's anything boring about dominance. And Nebraska volleyball and Ohio State football, and they're doing it. And it seems like we want to tear them down. Now, not necessarily Nebraska volleyball. I mean, people I think have bought a ticket to watch this train. That's as a unit is hitting what 348.
That's crazy.
Damn. But interesting weekend going out to UCLA and USC.
Did you hear Joey Galloway say that he thinks the Big Ten is closer to the ACC than the SEC? I
stop listening to him.
I agree with Joey Galloway because the Big Ten only has 2 coaches that are currently fired off of teams, and the SEC's got 4 coaches that are currently fired. So actually, I mean, he's right. I mean, there's more function within the Big Ten. The SEC just so much dysfunction. He's totally right. No conference is as dysfunctional as the SEC.
Yeah. It was good. We used to listen to Desmond Howard and Joey Galloway pre-2020 around here. And then we stopped listening to them. Didn't know they were still around.
Joey's on the panel for the college football playoff.
Yeah. You can mute him.
I'm going to, but I won't mute my guy, Greg McElroy.
Brandon Vogel from Counter Reads coming up next. All right, we welcome our good friend from counterread.com, Brandon Vogel. Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Oh, what hat is that?
That's a Osaka Tigers hat.
Oh, exactly.
Japanese league. Yeah.
Ooh, okay. How did we get onto that hat?
I just liked it. It's just got a tiger on it.
Okay. All right.
The
All right.
vast majority, I tend to favor baseball hats with a logo, like actual hats, because 95% of them have a letter, which is cool too. But so it stands
Yeah.
out a little in that regard.
Okay. I like it. I do. As I scan in here, I do like the logo. Before we get into a little bit of Nebraska football talk, this is a little bit of Nebraska because they were just there and they took the keys and they shut off the lights to the Rose Bowl. As it looks like UCLA is going to move to SoFi. So they're going to move out of an iconic venue to go to SoFi, which is larger, and they already don't put a lot of butts in seats at the Rose Bowl. It should work out pretty well. But do you think that the Rose Bowl will cease to exist, the stadium, or will it become more like special because there is only really one football game a year there?
Yeah, I lean towards the latter, and I think I like that better. Of like the Rose Bowl is for the actual Rose Bowl. It always, I mean, I know UCLA's played there for a long time, but it always kind of felt sort of odd. Although I do like that they changed the neon to blue and gold. That's a nice touch.
Yes.
But it just it kind of, you see the Rose Bowl in all its splendor every New Year's Day, and to see what it's like for these UCLA games does take away from it a little bit for me. So I think this enhances the appeal of the Rose Bowl, and I don't think you can get rid of it. It's an institution, of course. So that's just what it is. A big bowl stadium that we use for probably the most famous bowl game that there is.
Brandon, the Heisman Trophy campaign for Emmett Johnson is in full swing now. And obviously it is a tool for, hey, look at what we did for Emmett when he was great. This is what we would do for you if you become a great player. But on a serious note, he's not winning the Heisman Trophy, but do you think he could get to New York? Like, is that something that can happen if he ends up having a big game against Penn State and Iowa and whoever they play in the bowl game? Is Emmett sitting down and being one of the finalists? Is that something that could occur to you?
I'd be really surprised. Like, he would have to go nuts over these next two games, and Nebraska would have to win them, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So that you finish at 9-3. He's probably got to be over like 1,700 yards rushing. Although he does serve that kind of dual purpose back to a degree a lot of guys don't. So maybe with some receiving yards, he could fall a little bit short of that. I applaud the effort from Matt Rule on Monday and from Nebraska going forward. It's like, as you mentioned, Matt, it's what they should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's as recently as like a week and a half ago, it was like, maybe he's flirting with first team All Big Ten. He seemed to steam right past that against UCLA to the point where I do think All America consideration is a legitimate discussion for him. Just numbers wise, you look at it, he's right there.
Let's now let's get into the nuts and bolts of the quarterback, because one thing on Saturday night is there were slants, there were crossing routes, there were some other things that Nebraska has not gone deep into with Dillon as the quarterback, but they were able to do with TJ, and maybe they're just high percentage throws for TJ Lateef. But we've talked about, man, can you find the middle of the field? There's 44 in the middle of the field against USC. How come you can't find him? Or why does Nebraska not have anybody in the middle of the field? Against UCLA, they did. Is that a Lateef thing? Is that a Dana thing? Is that a Dillon? It's dink and dunk, so it's everything in front. Like, what as this offense evolves, now that we've seen two different type of quarterbacks running it, can you blend the Dillon and Lateef offense together to have Nebraska's offense, or is this two separate offenses?
Oh, I think eventually you could blend them. And some of it might have been a little bit matchup specific with how UCLA chose to play, but Nebraska jumping out to that touchdown lead, and they lost it on the next drive, but they were in control the entire game, which I don't think you can underestimate in terms of just like keeping Lateef comfortable. There weren't a ton of tough hills to climb, so everything looked like it worked really well. And I do think there's something to limits are often a good thing. And having a quarterback who's making his first start, you come in, you approach things a little bit differently. But also, individual quarterbacks are going to have their own, I think, strengths and weaknesses in terms of how they see things. And one of the things I think with Dylan in 2025, when we look back on it, I mean, the book is written in terms of what we'll get from him on the field, of course. That's going to be one of them. Of like, I think he made some pretty big steps as a player, but in terms of kind of choices and decision making at times, it's almost like he's maybe too advanced in terms of like what he knows he can do and what he wants to try to do. This was the issue in 2024 of like taking the throw that is there. And for true freshman starter on the road, it becomes, you can be sure that message was drilled into his head all week long.
So talking about kind of sticking to this point, right? Dylan's freedom and his ability to check into things and check out of things. I don't know what he's checking into, what he's checking out to, what the original call is. But let's just say, he checks into things and it ends up not being the right call and ends up not, and that becomes a habit. In your opinion, do you think once you give him that freedom, the cat's out of the bag, the genie's out of the bottle? Or would you say after watching TJ Lateef and seeing that, probably, was limited in what they were checking in and out of, that maybe it is beneficial just for college quarterbacks in general to not have so much on their plate?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I don't think the cat's out of the bag with that. I think Dylan is intentional and puts in the work enough. If that were a major coaching point of like, hey, let's look at all the checks that you made and let's actually, inventory how many were the right ones, how many were the wrong ones, and what were the results. Like he's the type of guy I think could be receptive to that. But I do think there's something to your second point, Matt, to be said for, there's been a lot of good college offenses where the quarterback was not, the composer necessarily, but was more of a trigger man. And particularly a lot of air raid offenses over the years. So that is kind of a fine line to walk. And Dylan presents an interesting case study with that, because he is able to do so many things and his understanding is at such a high level.
Give me a word to describe the defense through 10 games.
Practical, I think. Like
I see where we're going here. I like this.
Yeah, like we look at the run numbers, right? And we understand that, well, they're young and they're, probably smaller than the average Big Ten defensive line up front. Yeah, you had a lot of people come in at linebackers, some moving pieces. Maybe that's part of it. I also think, particularly after these last two games, part of it is like, we'll live with it, which is out of necessity, but also I think their best shot to win of, hey, as long as we keep this stuff like in front, no 70-yard gains like he had against Michigan, like he had against Minnesota, keep everything under 20. Like you can win games that way. They almost did against USC, and then they did do it against UCLA. So been looking at it this week with the bye week to give the opportunity to do that. Like a lot of the numbers are really close, like closer than I thought they would have been coming into the year to what Nebraska was the past 2 years. I mean, they're still giving up less than 20 points a game. I'd kind of put them at 25 as a fair expectation. So that I think tells you that, yeah, the defense looks different. They do different things well. It hasn't been great all the time, but bottom line, they're kind of achieving the same results. And I think that's a remarkable job by Butler, given all of the change that Nebraska had there.
And I remember I asked you, or like in the preseason, I go, hey, if they played at the same level, what would you say? And you said then that would be incredible, and you would be incredibly impressed. So, I mean, you've stayed true to that. All right, Gary and I did a fun exercise. We picked 5 guys that we ranked, hey, you got to make sure that you keep these guys come the transfer portal season. I want to hear your answer to I'm just going to have you pick one. I will get rid of a couple, though. No Sierra Wright, no Empen Johnson, no TJ Lateef, and no Dylan Raiola. Okay, so none of those guys. So if you remove those 4 players, one guy, Brandon Vogel, that you're like, this Nebraska football team has to make sure that they keep and they don't enter the transfer portal?
It's a really good question. It's tough to pick one. The one that jumped into my head first was Andrew Marshall, which I think is a pretty big win and big credit to him. But I think I would probably actually take Winery.
Wow.
Nebraska took him in. Everybody, he could have had his choice as a 5-star recruit. And what he has now is, I went to Nebraska and actually produced. So he's even more desirable if he were to enter the portal now. And I think that would be a tough one, not necessarily based on production alone, but just on, Nebraska did a lot of that development work. To lose out on that would be a tough pill.
We'll get you out on this. So you wrote on Monday, and you've said this with our conversations every Wednesday, a program win. And that's kind of what you described Saturday night against UCLA, and also snapping the streak of Nebraska has lost 6 in a row when they've had to use a backup quarterback.
Wow.
So they snapped that streak. So Penn State, Iowa, would they still fit under the category of a program win, or a different phrase if they were able to pick up the last 2 to get to 9-3?
Yeah, the Penn State one's a little bit tricky. There's a lot involved there, and I'm really interested in what should be a not very interesting Penn State Michigan State game this week, just to kind of get an understanding of what sort of Nittany Lion team will be hosting Nebraska the following Saturday. I think Iowa almost always has to be a program win, and it's why Nebraska hasn't been able to do it very often of late, though they've been really close the past 2 years. So that one I would put in that category. Penn State's a little bit to be determined, but if they were to win them both, I think, and you look at it collectively, yeah, I think it goes to the strength of where they're at right now. I thought that's what the UCLA game showed. And if they get to 9-3, despite losing the guy that they relied on to do so much at quarterback, it would be a pretty ringing endorsement, I think, of how far Nebraska has come. And you'd get the win total that would actually match it.
Yes, for all of us 9-3ers.
It's not 6-7. All right.
That's why I'm moving the hands differently.
Is that
9-3 is a little bit different. It's up instead of it's up. We appreciate it as always. Great stuff between you and Aaron covering all the sports. I really enjoy the Mondays with Brandon, and even more so the Wednesday conversations. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, guys. Have a great one.
That is Brandon Vogel. Good stuff at counterread.com. No, 6-7, 9-3 is. It's push it up, up.
You've been like a baseball manager this week with all your different hand signals that you're whipping out here. The 6-7, then now you're doing the TJ and Dylan right here. Give me a little.
Dave Van Horn, by the way, true story. When he was a baseball coach in Nebraska, never changed his signs. Only the indicator.
Really?
Yep.
No one ever caught on to that?
He didn't care.
Okay.
Well, back then the sign stealing wasn't as big, but his indicator would change.
Yeah.
But I could tell watching what Nebraska was going to run, or they were going to steal a base, or they're going to bunt, they were going to hit and run, something like that.
What was I played 1 year of Little League Baseball. I will never forget our signs. It was always left ear was the indicator, a little waggle on the left ear. Now, sometimes we were 7, coach would waggle the right ear, and we'd be like, Coach, you can't waggle different ears. We don't know our rights from our lefts. All right. Just stick to one ear waggle. So, all
right. Good Wednesday show, everybody.
Wednesday show.
From hoops and football and everything else in between. Crossover's coming up next. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 6.